items for more than 1.
Yeah, buddy.
Is well below the $9.2 billion that Dollar Tree spent on acquiring Family Dollar a decade ago. Management for Virginia-based Dollar Tree says the deal will allow it to move ahead with significant new store openings across the U.S. Dollar Tree also announced that it's gaining.
I wasn't looking up recipes. I was looking up just people eating and enjoying gumbo.
Inflation.
What type of sick-ass fantasy is that?
That made me very happy.
Some what sick-ass fetish is that?
Where the backups begin at exit 40.
That's like looking up Roland's search history online. People eating gumbo. What are you into?
We already got, my family already have a family recipe, so I don't need any of that. I just like to see people's faces the first time they eat some authentic gumbo.
Oh, okay.
Northbound between exits 14 and 19. That's Norwalk to Southport. Jason Caterina has the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, it'll be cloudy with a shower in spots this afternoon. A high of 50.
No
Tonight,
doubt, John
Beckman.
Beckman.
Breezy,
West Coast scallywags in the house.
32. Now partly sunny, still breezy for us Thursday. That high of 50 again will feel cool to chilly if you're in the shade. When
WCSW.
Partly cloudy, not as cold Thursday night. The low down to 38. Now turning cloudy Friday, but milder to round out the week with the high of 57. Friday night, we'll get a couple of showers, then a steadier rain developing. That'll linger into early parts of Saturday. Mild with occasional rain and drizzle Saturday, but again, mainly early in the day. But the high jumping up to 62. Cloudy, cooler Sunday, showers in the morning, then occasional rain and drizzle in the afternoon. The high 53. Warmer Monday with low clouds and afternoon rain, but the high moving up to 65 to kick off the new week Monday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Dow down 244 points. NASDAQ's down 417. S&P is down 78 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. It's 3:06. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with AutoPay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Hartford Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Every sandwich has bread, every burger has a bun, but these warm, golden, smooth steam buns, these are special. Reserved for the very best. The Filet-O-Fish. And you can have them too.
And you can have it all at 2 for $6, like a Filet-O-Fish, Big Mac, 10-piece McNuggets, or large fries. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health.
1 minute.
Function
Yes, sir.
treatments are shown to be effective in well over
Richard,
90% of cases.
hello, sir.
Here's one of our patients,
And everybody
Bill,
else who's not
sharing
in the
his
chat room,
experience on
I
our
see
ED
you.
treatments.
I think.
My name's Bill, and I'm a patient at Northeast Men's Health. I suffered with ED for a couple of years, and I wasn't satisfied with my intimate life with my wife. If you have a problem, find a solution. If you have ED, seek out Northeast Men's Health. Go there. You've got nothing to lose. I am having good sex, but it's not just about the sex. Colors are brighter. My mood was brighter. I had more passion for everything in my life, not just sex, everything. I'm going to Northeast Men's Health. Go there, give it a try, meet the people there. They'll take care of you.
Thanks, Bill. It's true. If you're like most
How
men,
we doing,
we'll
Donald?
help you get your sex life back. For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com.
Favorite part of the song.
Hey, yo! Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the Radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Do Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the Radio, right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Across the fruited plains and, of course, the scallywags in the Nutmeg State. It is I, Reese on the Radio, your humble correspondent right here on News Talk 1080 WTIC. Now, I've got to do this, folks. I must applaud myself. I'm just doing it because I keep saying every day on this network, please trust me. I ask for your trust, but trust me, don't get me wrong here. I understand that I must prove myself every day. Every day. It is an ongoing saga with yours truly to ensure that when I open my mouth, I know what I'm talking about. I don't just get to be right all the time and then I stop and I can be wrong whenever I want. No. I must be consistent, right? I can't be the star quarterback if I'm not winning championships. I cannot be the star pitcher of a baseball team unless I am getting the strikeouts that are required. Okay? I got to be taking us to the pennant every year. And when we don't, I expect people in the newspapers to say, oh, he's lost this stuff. He's lost this curveball. I got to tell you, maybe we should consider a trade. I get it. I totally get it. Do not think that I wake up every morning saying to myself, I got this. Because trust me, this morning, when I turned on the news and I heard that Jeffrey Goldberg had released more documents or more of the text in the exchange from, was it March 11th? My wife and I looked at each other and they went, is this the day? Is this the day when they're going to catch me slipping? And I wasn't concerned. I said, no, I'm not worried because I know who I'm dealing with. Jeffrey Goldberg is a clown. Let me tell that to everybody else who's listening, especially those on the left. Jeffrey Goldberg is a clown and a joke who's had 30 years at this getting it wrong. Just because he's been there at the Atlantic, just because he is hanging over there at Low Hanging Fruit International does not mean he is a good and great journalist. He is not. He is a hack. We know that. And we know it now forever. And I told you this. I played you the audio yesterday. I even played the video online for people to watch it themselves. Pay attention to the cues of Jeffrey Goldberg. It didn't make sense. It did not make sense. So I'm going to rehash this just a little bit. Again, this is Tim Miller on the Bulwark talking to Jeffrey Goldberg about the White House, Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, and everybody else calling Jeff Goldberg a liar.
Look, by any standard of imagination, I mean, we're talking about, again, these are technical terms, and there's many, many different layers and complexities, and I'm not a national security lawyer. But look, I've been doing this for more than 30 years. I know what sensitive technical information looks like. Okay.
So let's go to that national security lawyer question then, because I think, look, if the White House now the Secretary of Defense and the White House press secretary have said you're lying, have said there are no war plans there, have said there's no classified information. So the obvious question is, shouldn't you now demonstrate it? Shouldn't you publish the text?
And I said, yes, of course. He's got to publish them. But what did Jeff Goldberg tell us yesterday?
No, because they're wrong. They're wrong.
He can't release it because they're wrong. These are classified documents. I can't release them. They're wrong. If I release them, a CIA operative is going to be exposed. I can't do it.
But how can you prove that you're wrong? Maybe should you provide them to the House and Senate Special Committees on Intelligence, maybe?
And that was a great question. Tim Miller said, hey, man, if you can't release them to the public, get it in the hands of the people who can handle classified information. And I told you yesterday, it's odd that Jeffrey Goldberg would seem so reticent about that idea.
I don't know.
Wow. Well, you want to become my lawyer?
I'm throwing this out there, Jeff. I don't know. I mean, look, the White House press secretary an hour ago said
I feel like no. I mean, I obviously, let me just put it this way: my colleagues and I, and the advice that and the people who are giving us advice on this have some interesting conversations to have about this.
Yeah.
But just because they're irresponsible with material doesn't mean that I'm going to be irresponsible with this material.
Oh, and there it is. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be irresponsible with this material. And then, right, the guy who is not going to be irresponsible with this material, we all woke up this morning. Breaking news. Jeff Goldberg has released everything. Reckless son of a gun. Jeffrey Goldberg said he's not going to be irresponsible, only to be irresponsible the next day. 24 hours later, completely irresponsible. But it wasn't like I didn't tell you yesterday. Here is your very own Reese on the Radio after playing the clip from The Breakfast Club, who seemed to, in some way, inadvertently, gotten to the bottom of all of this. Listen again.
Yeah, but this is your country, and if it could affect military, it could affect people that's out there working.
Nobody
and fighting.
cares about that because you have bylines, you want to get the clicks, you want to sensationalize. And in 2025, nobody cares about that.
In 2025, nobody cares about that. And what did Reese on the Radio say yesterday after I played that clip? Oh, no, you don't have to guess. I have it for you. That's right, baby. In 2025, nobody cares about that. Neither does Jeffrey Goldberg. You don't give two damns about that. They're holding on to that information and they're seeing how long they can stretch it. Keep people buying the Atlantic, continue reporting about it, drag it on, make them the newspaper of record, the place where everybody goes, is there more to this saga? Yeah. It's brilliant if it weren't so stupid. I look pretty good, too. I told you. He said he was sticking to his principles. You heard him.
All of my inclinations, as you can tell, including withholding the name of the CIA undercover officer, all of my inclinations are. I have a pretty clear standards in my own behavior of what I consider information that I consider to be in the public interest, even if it's technically classified or not. Information that's in the public interest and information that's not in the public interest. And I'm just going to I'm sticking to my principles here.
I'm sticking to my principles, he said. And he didn't want to divulge the CIA operative because he thought that was classified. He said, they're wrong. I can't release it. But then he released it. And the reason why he released it was because all of that nonsense he was talking was actually nonsense. John Radcliffe today, ladies and gentlemen, on that CIA director, or CIA operative, I should say.
With regard to that article, I also would appreciate the opportunity to relay the fact that yesterday I spent 4 hours answering questions from senators as a result of that article that were intimating that I transmitted classified information because there were hidden messages. Those messages were revealed today and revealed that I did not transmit classified information and that the reporter, who I don't know, I think intentionally intended it to indicate that. That reporter also indicated that I had released the name of an undercover CIA operative in that signal chain. In fact, I had released the name of my chief of staff, who is not operating undercover. That was deliberately false and misleading, And I appreciate the opportunity to reflect that my answers haven't changed. I used an appropriate channel to communicate sensitive information. It was permissible to do so. I didn't transfer any classified information. And at the end of the day, what is most important is that the mission was a remarkable success.
That's correct, folks. The CIA operative that Jeff Goldberg was so concerned that had been revealed in the text messages turned out to be John Radcliffe's chief of staff, who is not a CIA operative. But remember, Jeffrey Goldberg says, I know what classified documents look like.
Look, I've been doing this for more than 30 years. I know what sensitive technical information looks like.
I thought he did. Didn't you? Didn't you believe he did? That's what you guys were calling about. That's what all the people who were saying, oh, but it's reported in the news, they said. Of course it was. Everybody in the news jumped on it because Jeffrey Goldberg had the goods. He was entered into the text. He had to know what was going on. Right? He's never dragged them down the primrose path before. That's never happened before. But yet here we are. This was my favorite part about all of it. And again, it's very important to point this out. Even though you can't see it if you're listening on the radio, but those of you who are on ReeseOnTheRadio.com and those of you who are listening who like to go back and watch the show, remember what the headline read in The Atlantic when this first was reported. And this is important because words matter. This is what was spread all over the place. This was the crux of the debate. The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. And Jeff Goldberg went everywhere on television and said, yes, they had. And when the administration pushed back and said, no, we did not, no, that did not happen, why in God's name would the Atlantic then report its new article detailing everything that they said they weren't sure they could discuss or even reveal? Why would the next one reveal, here are the attack plans the Trump advisors shared on Signal? Why the change? It was always war plans. It was always war plans. That is it. The breakdown is simple. He never had war plans. He never had tactical information. He never had places. He never had people. He never had targeting positions. He had nothing on the people who were actually fulfilling that role because that wasn't shared there. He knows it. Everyone else knows it. And they're grasping at straws. Even Jazz Hands, who's desperately looking for something to distract from his non-support of Chuck Schumer, Jazz Hands himself, Hakeem Farrakhan Jeffries.
It's a stunning breach of America's national security. The lives of our servicemen and women were put into danger. And this is all being done by the person, the Secretary of Defense, who is charged with protecting the safety and national security of.
And the reason why the safety was compromised is because Jeff Goldberg had them. And what they're saying is that in the hands of Jeff Goldberg could have taken that information and given it to the enemies, because that's the only mistake that was made. That's a fact. Ask anybody. What was the mistake? Jeff Goldberg was put in a text exchange. That's it. He was entered into the text exchange. The only way that this information was going to get into the hands of the enemy was the outside source that this was sent to, Jeffrey Goldberg. And they're going to have to square that circle. I know they can't, but they'll try. We'll get into another one locally. Locally, somebody tried to suggest that there are bigger mistakes than the one that was made. We'll talk about it. And we'll also get into your phone calls. Don't forget, we got to get into Ned Lamont, who is doing something I can't imagine. Does anybody remember when he changed or wanted to change the policy of policing in Connecticut because of the acts of Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd case? Do you remember that? Well, apparently, that's a theme of Ned Lamont. Does this guy come up with anything original? Ever? Does this guy have an original thought? Ever? I find it incredible. Oh, where was, hold on. I need to get this. I thought I had this here. Did I not upload it? Because I could have sworn that I had this ready to go. If not, I will get this audio ready in the next break. We got to talk about NPR as well. There was a great exchange at a congressional hearing with Representative Brandon Gill and Catherine Mayer of NPR. That's some great audio. I want to play that as well. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jeffrey Goldberg fallout, but locally I want to get into Governor Lamont, and this insane, I would say, conflating of what's going on in Waterbury. You may have heard the story, but we'll talk about that as well as we'll take your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC. Again, that's 860-522-9842. If you want to join the conversation online because you can't call on the phone, just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You go to Facebook. You can go to Rumble. You could go to X at Reese On Radio. And I think that's it. Twitch. Oh, and YouTube. If you want to go to YouTube, I don't really promote them. But if you want to join that, I'll be reading your comments as well. BJ in the house. Let me give him a round of applause. Let me read what BJ said real quick before we go to a break. BJ says, I had conversations with people who were calling him stupid, I guess, saying I have been looking at classified material for 30 years. You're an idiot, they said. The report by the man who was saying no classified material. In the end, they said, you believe what you want. You are stupid. But that's okay, BJ. That's why you just send them here. I'll set them straight. Nothing in this was classified. In fact, everyone who's been asked, even at the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin gave a report today. Someone came forward who clearly doesn't like Pete Hegseth, said this, and I quote, they suggest that it appears to have been classified. What? They suggest that it appears it may be, they suggest that it appears that it may have been classified. That's not definitive at all. I wouldn't even repeat that quote. It's ridiculous. But we'll talk about that some more, and plus we'll take your phone calls. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back after the news with John Vila, and we got Mark Christopher and, of course, Jason Catarinas with traffic and weather as well. It's Reese On The Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Wisdom teeth giving you trouble? Columbia Dental's expert oral surgeons specialize in comfortable and efficient wisdom tooth removal. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
January through March are the months our weather can change in a snap. 45 degrees one day, 10 the next. Can you depend on your car to start? Don Cusson here. Your battery can fail in extreme weather. So Cusson Automotive and Napa have a deal on batteries with an earn-back bonus on quality Legend batteries. With any vehicle service, we will test your charging system and battery for free. If your battery fails the test, we will replace it with no additional labor cost. Plus, you'll receive a $20 Visa card, so don't get stuck in the cold. Call or go to CussonAutomotive.com.
Cusson Automotive.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut, from breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app now.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
And now, a WTIC news update.
3:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The woman accused of keeping her now adult stepson holed up in their home in Waterbury for 20 years was in court today. Kimberly Sullivan's case was continued to Friday. State's looking to add conditions to Sullivan's release. The man set fire to their home last month, weighing only 68 pounds when rescued, and saying he was given little food and only let out in small time increments over the decades. Simsbury police charging a Coventry man with arson and attempted homicide stemming from an incident last year. Adam Julian is charged. Simsbury police say he threw Molotov cocktails at a home in town last November. State police investigating after a car was reportedly shot at in Hartford this morning. Interstate 91 and Route 15 were closed for a time as police investigated. A witness says their vehicle was shot at around 2 this morning. There were no injuries. The roadways were shut for a time, but later reopened. The Atlantic has released the entire signal chat among Trump senior national security officials. It shows that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth provided the exact times of warplane launches and when bombs would drop before the men and women flying those attacks against Yemen's Houthis this month on behalf of the U.S. were airborne. Hegseth insists that no classified information was released. Gun safety groups are celebrating the Supreme Court decision upholding a Biden administration firearm regulation on nearly impossible to trace ghost guns. The rule requires continued serial numbers, background checks, and age verification to buy kits to build the guns, privately made firearms without serial numbers that allow police to trace weapons. The UConn women's basketball team headed to Spokane and the Sweet 16. The Huskies received a send-off on campus today. They'll take on third-seeded Oklahoma Saturday at 5:30 p.m. WTIC News Time 3:32. Here's the forecast.
Cloudy on our Wednesday afternoon with a shower in spots, the high of 50. Then tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, chilly, the low dropping down to 32. Partly sunny, breezy for us on Thursday. That high of 50 again will feel cool to chilly if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Then on Friday, turning cloudy, it'll be milder for us as we make our way out of the week. The high moving up to 57 on Friday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Dow's down 224 points. NASDAQ down 418. S&P down 76. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, Tom Shattuck here. As you know, my friend Phil has been on Awaken 180 weight loss for now 6 weeks. Let's check in with Phil.
Down 6.8 last week.
That's a lot of weight.
Since I started, I'm down officially 38 pounds. I'll be hitting target in no time. I think by sometime in early May, I'm guessing. I did a quick look, Tom, at some stats. You know, they measure the visceral fat, the fat that surrounds your organs.
All right, FYI, we got storms here.
Started at 23, and now I'm down to 19.
You got what?
I said we got storms here. We just got kicked off for a quick second.
I don't
Okay. Your power went out?
Huh? Life-saving stuff.
No.
And then I do understand what body mass index is. I start
okay.
1%, and I'm down to 33%.
You can be a resounding success story like Phil. Call 844-346-1800. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
If your air conditioner and furnace are over 10 years old, they
Roseanne
pretty much
says,
gone
hey.
to the dogs. But at Ayala Home
Hey.
a free furnace with our 2-for deal. For a limited time, when you purchase a new air conditioning system, you receive a free furnace. We also offer free, no-obligation estimates for these new systems. Call, click, or text and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768A, D10401465, E11856443, S330869, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Sullivan's Northwest Hills Cadillac is your home for ultimate in luxury SUVs like the Cadillac XT4, XT5, and XT6. XT lineup offers bold style, exquisite materials, innovative technology, and smooth performance. Going on now? Take advantage of our latest offers. Lease a 2025 XT4 for as low as $469 a month for 36 months with $49.95 due at signing. Visit Northwest Hills Cadillac in Torrington or visit northwesthillscadillac.com to take advantage of these special offers. The law firm of Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott understands that divorce can be intimidating and the decisions you make today will impact your life forever. Divorce is complicated. There's a lot at stake when considering your future. At Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott, our team of family attorneys have over 100 years of combined experience and understand every family law case is different. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer, you get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Katie Bissonette is responsible for the content of this ad.
Welcome to the new era of excellence at Amberwoods of Farmington. We're thrilled to announce that our transformative renovations are now complete, and we've truly taken it to the next level for our residents. Discover our stunning new spaces and indulge in 5-star amenities that redefine comfort and care. This is not the same Amberwoods you knew. Call us today at 860-677-1671 or visit amberwoodsof.com to schedule a tour and witness the remarkable changes at Amberwoods. We can't wait to welcome you.
Seems everything costs more these days.
And
when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't like
in 10.
Free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the radio. I want to read a couple of comments in the chat room. Greg Dillon, of course, author of The Thin Blue Line, is in the chat room. He said, "These are my principles. If you don't like them, I have others." Quoting Groucho Marx. I love Groucho Marx quotes, man. They're the best. They are the best. It's so true because that's what Jeffrey Goldberg was saying. He's saying, I have principles. I'm not going to release any of this information, only to release them the next morning. And he seemed like it was such a crisis. You know, I mean, if you actually watch him, you know, this is him. Just listen to his voice. He's so, like, belabored.
All of my inclinations, as you can tell, including withholding the name of the CIA undercover officer, all of my inclinations are, I have a pretty clear standards in my own behavior of what I consider information that I consider to be in the public interest, even if it's technically classified or not, information that's in the public interest and information that's not in the public interest. And I'm just going to I'm sticking to my principles here.
Oh, I'm sticking to my principles here. Yeah, sure you are, buddy. Sure you are. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Pete in Waterbury. How are you doing, Pete?
Good, Reese. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
What Jeffrey Goldberg did, how is this not espionage?
I think so. Now, walk me through your point of view here. I think it's scratching the surface. I don't think it's full on. It almost feels like it's a circumstantial. So walk me through your analysis here.
Okay. What he did was clearly the result of a coordinated, covert intelligence operation.
Okay.
He used subterfuge to secretly and illegally insert himself and gain access to highly sensitive official information involving counterterrorism and national security.
Right. In recognizing what the text exchange was about, saving it to then publish.
Correct. I mean, so he secretly inserted himself into that highly sensitive official meeting. He had no right to be there. I mean, basically, he was a spy, and he should be prosecuted for espionage.
I guess, okay, so you're going into an area that I had thought about. And it being Wednesday, I think it's appropriate for us to go down this road. And I'm pretty sure you know what road I'm talking about, and that is none other than Whack Job Wednesday on this. So let me tell you what I'm thinking based upon what you're saying, because I don't want to poo-poo what you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said yesterday, no, in fact, they said it this morning. They wrote on my Facebook page when I mentioned this. Someone said it was a trap.
Yeah.
In essence, someone put him in this chat to draw him out. And when I saw it, I went, and I have a tendency to do this always. It's the one place that I can honestly admit, Pete, where I always get my legs swept. I say at first, nah, that doesn't seem feasible. And then it turns out to be true. Anytime it's over the rails, I always go, I'm a little apprehensive to go that route. And then sure enough, it is. Because when they get to the bottom of it, you might be right. What would be the reason because I looked at if you saw the video, I mean, the photographs, the screenshots that Jeffrey Goldberg placed in the new article, the initials of the person were JG. Mike Walls is saying that they thought that it was someone else who may have put in the wrong information, which is now starting to make me feel, hold up, maybe if there was a plan to get him involved to see what he would do with that information.
Well, it was a covert intelligence operation. Clearly, it was coordinated. He didn't act alone either.
So clearly couldn't have.
Further questions. What is the Atlantic magazine? Who funds them? Did they lose AID money? Are they a CIA cutout? I mean, they have to do an investigation. First of all, they should arrest and prosecute Goldberg as soon as possible, because he's clearly he committed espionage against the United States.
I think the part that makes that true, Pete, the part that makes that true is the fact that Tim Miller in the Bulwark podcast said to him, perhaps take that information and give it to a select committee so they can discern if it was classified. He chose not to and published it.
Well, just give the Cash Patel and let him go to work on it. That's all. Just do a deep dive investigation on the whole affair onto the Atlantic magazine. And also, you have to take, is this a Democrat dirty trick? I mean, who benefited? It was the Democrat Party.
That's right, because they're the ones who are benefited from it because they're using it as a talking point to remove cabinet members, in particular Pete Hegseth.
That's their plan. The whole thing is to remove Pete Hegseth as defense secretary.
Yeah, great point, good call. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate you, sir. Let's go to Tom in Watertown. How we doing, Tom?
I'm good, Reese. How you doing?
I'm all right, sir. What do you got?
Buddy, you're saying exactly what I was just going to say, and I posted this on my Facebook page the other day. We all know Trump and his guys are playing chess while the rest of them are playing checkers.
Right.
And I posted this exact words. if you want to catch the rats, put out some food for them.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give them, you know what, as much as I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, there's a part of this that really, really stinks to high heaven with this signal thing.
Absolutely.
That's the part that stinks because, let me put it to you this way, and this probably gives more credence to what Pete's call just suggested. The Signal app was installed by the Biden administration. If we're to understand the Trump administration, anything Biden has done was amateur hour at best. Why implement something Biden implemented into the administration into their own? Like, I wouldn't want that whack juice on me at all.
Right.
You know? So that's why I say it lends some credence to what Pete's saying here and what you, of course, posted. It's like perhaps the whole idea was, let's just turn the whole thing on its head and draw, because we also know that this administration has got their ears, and if not knives out for the media that thwarted them in 2016 as well as 2020.
And I was just going to say, one of the things I think he learned in his first term is it's real deep. It is real deep. You don't know who to trust. And I think, maybe he is. Maybe they're looking to find out who they can trust, who they can't trust. And it's early on.
And expose the swamp to the American people to get
the swamp. Exactly.
Yeah, because I think that's the difference between 2016 and today. I think a real important point to the thing to point out. It's almost like the executive order Donald Trump signed yesterday about you must be able to represent yourself as a legal citizen of the United States before you can vote. You put out an executive order like that because you, as Pete also suggested, as you suggested, the rats come out when you put out the food, right? So here's the food. Yeah. The food is everybody who gets to vote must be a legalized citizen. All of a sudden, Democrats go nuts and they start calling up judges and get judges to block the executive order so you can expose, wow, the Democrats are exposing that they don't want people to be recognized as American citizens before they vote.
100%.
You put them right. You put them right out there in the open air, so every American can look there and you can decide which side of this argument are you on. Are you for any?
And you're also exposing all the judges too.
That's also
yes. And you can't trust.
And to that's just an added bonus. Because now you know who the judges are. Because remember what Chuck Schumer said, right? We put over 200 progressive judges to stop this administration. Now we get the Democrats out there, judge buying, running around finding judges who are going to implement their orders.
Yep.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, sir. Good job. Let's go to Fulton and Waterbury before we go to a break. What's going on, Fulton?
Hey, what's going on? Back from vacation in Florida.
Welcome home.
I'm trying to catch up on this app thing. It's an encrypted app. Like, I'm not sure how it's on this guy's phone or how. Like, I'm not an app guy. I'm not a group chat guy. But
so from what I understand, it is a public. It's a public app, Fulton, that anyone can use. But the things that you say on it are encrypted. So, in other words, instead of using your regular text or using some of these other apparatus like WhatsApp and all that, Signal keeps yours private. It was sort of like the way that BlackBerry wasn't allowed in India. I don't know if you remember that story, but they wouldn't allow Blackberries in India.
I was thinking, though, that, I mean, it would just seem the administration smarter. Like you said, it might be, I think it's a setup.
Yeah.
Like to see who's out there, who's going to float information, who's going to tell the Houthis what's coming, because they already did it.
Right. And it's when, the crazy part is that it happened within hours.
I agree with everybody else. They should probably prosecute.
Remember, they put this out hours before it took place. And we've got Representative Himes running around saying that if this had gotten into the hands of the Russians, they could have told the Houthis, or they could have warned people within hours of this attack. You're talking about moving bases that they attacked? Like, how were they going to do that within hours? But we'll get into that audio later. Thanks, Fulton. I appreciate you, sir.
All right, thank you.
You got it, man. Like I said, I always get caught when I hear those stories that are, almost beyond belief. But I got to say, all three of those guys are so right in that we never know what Donald Trump is doing. It's just, and not budging on it. The other part is that I will say this before we go to break. This is the crazy part. The fact that we know And it's still fresh in our minds. It would be something different if this was like 2 presidents ago. We know that 13 Americans were killed in Afghanistan in that god-awful pullout. And no one was fired. No one was held accountable. Everyone kept their jobs. Lloyd Austin, with that unacceptable pullout of Afghanistan, even went so far as to keep from the commander-in-chief when he ended up in a hospital in an induced coma on New Year's. Remember? Still never lost his job. Holds the same job as Pete Hegseth. And now people are calling for Pete Hegseth's head. Which, again, I looked at it and go, someone make this make sense. It just doesn't at all. It's incredible that these people would say the stuff that they say, but they are. It's incredible. All right, we'll take a couple of phone calls when we get back from this short break. Then we'll get into traffic and weather. In the next hour, Ned Lamont did something I thought was insane when I heard about it, and is conflating a very tragic story with a young man who was held against his will for 20 years, allegedly, with homeschooling. If you haven't heard this story, you are going to lose it when you hear it this time. And it's nothing more than a ruse, and he should be called out for it. WTNH did the story. We'll play that audio when we return. All right, at the top of the next hour. We'll get into that. And of course, the stupidest thing I read today. That's what the stupidest thing I read today is as well. All right, so stick around. We got that. More news, more views, your phone calls. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Every sandwich has bread. Every burger has a bun. But
there is no Katarina today.
Oh, it isn't? Okay. Oh, we got nor is there Mark Christopher.
And you.
Oh, that's what I meant. There's no,
Mark Christopher's off today.
There's no Mark Christopher.
Yeah, who's filling in for him?
That's Tom O'Hanlon.
Oh, Tom O'Hanlon.
Yeah.
All right, I got him. And he's on tape, I presume, right?
Yeah, it's all pre-recorded.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees.
Hey, did you get this memo about April Fool's Day?
April 2nd to save.
Yeah, they probably heard you yesterday.
Oh, come on. I was never going to do anything that severe.
Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt,
1 minute.
then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pensions. even your social security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
It's Reese on the Radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Nah, it's not. It's Reese on the Radio. Let's get to Wall Street Joe real quick. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, hi. It's too bad you didn't take my three things I wanted to get across on Monday. You took my first one, and then you said there wasn't any time. And that
Sorry.
Was that. And yesterday I was hanging, never took my call. Well, does your wife still have Tesla, or did she cash
She
out
does.
with
Nah,
a
she's still there.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, especially yesterday, to take your profits because there was going to be some unrest today. And sure enough, you see what's happened to the market in Tesla. But it's not too late to get out. Trump is going to hold a 4 o'clock press conference in a few minutes.
Waiting for it, yeah.
And the reason why the market has gotten hit so badly today is that he's allegedly going to announce unexpected.
Hello? Oh, good. Unexpected
really
what?
A stiff tariff. This is unexpected on automobiles. High tariffs on automobiles coming into the country. Protective tariffs. So it's affecting the market in a huge way.
Okay, well, I'm like I said, I'm waiting for it right now to see exactly what's coming on. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you with three things, but they make me go fast here on the air. I got a directive that I got to get everybody in like 2-3 minutes top. So I apologize for that.
I would get into going forward. I'd get into UVIX, which is way up today, and with the situation on Saturday on Tesla, I would be out of Tesla before Saturday happens.
I'm waiting for it, but yeah, my wife is she's keeping a close eye on it. Thank you, boss man. Let's go, Dave, who's in Branford. How we doing, Dave?
Reese, how are you? I have a critique, not a criticism.
Oh, that's fine. I like a critique.
We regularly dump on Jasmine Crockett, who stepped in it again. And my lament is you don't give props to enough of the black leaders on the conservative stripe. You know, Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, the recently passed Mia Love, whom I remember when she was the Republican response to a Democrat speech one night, and everybody I knew was astounded, you know, how good looking, how well she spoke. You could see the future of the party, and then she dies at 49, you know, and hardly anybody knows who she is, what she did. Who was Clarence Pendleton? He was the head of the Civil Rights Commission under Reagan. Nobody knows who he is.
Indeed.
And we spend too much time with the damnable Jasmine Crockett, who is just awful. Why did she get so much airtime? And if we're going to criticize Negroes behaving badly, you know, what about Stacey Abrams and that $2 billion?
No, I'm on
environmental accounts under her control. Did she profit? Nobody's doing a deep
Dave,
dive.
never get ahead of me. Trust me,
money.
never get ahead of me. Thursday is, as you put it, Negroes behaving badly. Negro Nonsense features Stacey Abrams. Yeah, there's a whole story about that. But let me tell you this before I let you go. The reason why I pay more attention to, I understand Walter Williams. I love Walter Williams, and of course, Thomas Sowell, of course, everyone you mentioned.
With sound quotes.
Yeah, with quotes. I get that.
Quotes.
But let me explain to you.
You can do that, and I can't.
No, I understand that. Well, let me tell you why I do the Jasmine Crockett thing. Here's why. I believe that the best way to destroy what Jasmine Crockett is doing is to expose Jasmine Crockett to the masses. I want them to put her on a pedestal. They are trying to do that. But there is, trust me, that's the strategy of everybody on the right now, is to expose Jasmine Crockett and make Democrats have to make excuses for her. Because when she is emboldened by them, she'll continue to make those dumb mistakes and go further down that path to only destroy her and the party further. So I don't want to not focus on her. I want everyone to recognize how damnable she is.
I agree with you. I love it when you do that. Governor Hot Wheels, does it get more outrageous than
Oh,
that?
no. Trust me. I've got audio that's even forward. She said it had everything to do with illegals coming up to Chicago. It's far worse than that.
We don't want to not mention... We want to mention the good things, too, and I think maybe we don't do that enough.
I'll take that into consideration. It is a good point, I will admit. Thank you, Dave. All right, folks, it is time for Weather and Traffic. Jason Catarinas has your weather. And today, filling in for Mark Christopher is Tom O'Halloran in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. On 84 going eastbound, we're slowing down now from exit 46 to 51. And in East Hartford, if you're going west on 84, some congestion now between exits 55 and 46. On 91, we're in pretty good shape either way through Hartford. Now in Windsor, we do have delays on 91 southbound. Between exit 35A and 32, there's some stop and go. 291 looks pretty good. Wilbur Cross is moving, and so far so good on routes 2 and 3. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, cloudy with a shower in spots, the high of 50. Have a bit of that damp, raw feel to it, though. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight, the low down to 32. Partly sunny, still breezy on Thursday with the high back to 50. It'll feel a bit cool to chilly if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Then on Friday, turning cloudy, milder to round out the week, though. The high moving up to 57. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The Waterbury stepmother accused of holding her husband's son captive for 20 years appeared in court today. Prosecutors want to change Kimberly Sullivan's bail conditions, possibly to include a GPS monitor. She is currently free on $300,000 bond and will be back in court on Friday. Family members were in court today, as we hear from WTIC's Dave Mager.
The victim's biological mother, Tracy Valorand, calls it disgusting that Sullivan remains free. She's calling for prosecution of Sullivan's 2 daughters who grew up in the home but apparently never reported the victim was there. The victim was pulled from school in the 4th grade when the State Department of Children and Families started to ask questions. Valorand believes DCF was of no help to the child.
Well, we already know how DCF turned out for him. They failed him.
The victim's half-sister, Heather Tessman, agrees.
Everybody failed him, and he deserved so much more.
Tessman and Valorand both say they'd like to meet the man they haven't seen since he was a small boy. In Waterbury, Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
The Atlantic has released transcripts of that chat among U.S. officials regarding this month's strike on Houthi targets in Yemen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says there was no classified information in that chat.
It's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
CBS national security contributor Sam Vinograd.
There's information in there about when a strike is going to occur, what military assets are going to be used, and that's happening well before the strikes are launched. The reason that information is normally classified is because if it's provided in an unclassified setting in advance of the strike, that means that bad actors could get access to it and could disrupt the actual operation.
Man's being charged after Simsbury police say he launched Molotov cocktails at a home in town last year. Under arrest is 28-year-old Adam Julian. Police say last November 6th, Julian threw firebombs at the home of a former acquaintance. Those inside weren't injured. Julian was charged with criminal attempt at murder by arson, and illegal bomb manufacturing. Bond was set at $1 million. Police did not indicate why they thought Julian carried out those bombings. Connecticut's chief elections officials expressing concerns about a bill in Congress that she says would put up roadblocks toward those looking to register to vote. Secretary of the State Stephanie Thomas says the SAVE Act, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, is a flawed piece of legislation.
We were all united around the issues of election administration that were outlined in the SAVE Act. Even 21 Republican secretaries of state sent a letter to the administration imploring them to fix the flaws in the bill.
Thomas says if the bill is passed, prospective voters wouldn't be able to register with just a driver's license or a photo ID. She says they might have to produce a birth certificate or passport, items she says elderly voters in particular might have trouble producing. Thomas also says SAVE would require an overhaul of online registration systems, something the states would have to pay for. Florida considering loosening child labor laws amid immigration crackdowns.
The move comes after Republican Governor Ron DeSantis suggested that young workers could help replace, quote, dirt cheap labor performed by undocumented workers in the state. A bill in the Florida State Senate would allow teenagers as young as 14 to work overnight shifts and remove time limitations and required meal breaks for 16 and 17-year-old workers.
CBS's Jim Krasula. And Coke is announcing a recall. Correspondent Matt Piper.
Coca-Cola says more than 10,000 of its cans may contain plastic. The recall pertains to 12 can packs of Coca-Cola beverages. The FDA says the cans were sent to places in Illinois and Wisconsin. It comes as a new report by Oceana says that by the year 2030, Coke products will account for an estimated 1.33 billion pounds of plastic waste entering the world's oceans and waterways each year.
Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow down 132 points. NASDAQ down 372. S&P off 64 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now. Quote, call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Do I look that stupid? Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Stupidest thing I read today was this.
You know, when the governor first heard these allegations, like the rest of us, he was shocked and appalled. Today, he was urging lawmakers to come to the table with him to examine Connecticut's homeschool laws, see if there are areas where they could be tightened up. That focus on homeschooling has ignited sharp opposition from Republicans.
I'd like to talk with the legislature about ways we can stay in better communication, make sure those kids are being well protected, not just in school, but at homeschool as well.
Governor Ned Lamont zeroed in on Connecticut's homeschooling laws in reaction to those stomach-turning allegations of abuse in Waterbury. He strongly hinted he'd support tightening the state's homeschool regulations in order to catch potential abuse. Top Republicans fired back.
To turn this to a homeschool issue, to me, is disingenuous. And it's really, to me, smells of don't let a crisis go to waste.
Kendall Laura said he views the governor's move as a thinly veiled attempt to use the Waterbury case as cover for an attack on the broader homeschooling movement.
And that's exactly what this is. When we come back, we'll break all of this stuff down. This is absolutely, it's reprehensible that Lamont would bring this argument into the fold. To say that homeschool, like we don't even know, there's absolutely no association whatsoever. We'll play that part too, because I got to give it to Mike Cirilli of WTNH for actually pointing that out in the report. We'll play that audio as well. This is sick. And it's an attack on moms and dads. And the only reason why this is being done, and Ned Lamont knows it, this is at the behest of the teachers' unions. Because you can't give them more money if there are fewer kids inside that system. And because of what we're learning with so many kids failing out of these schools, with an education system that's failing, and why would you even want to touch homeschooling? At least look at the statistics. If we found out that homeschooling was worse than teaching them in the public school system, I'd say there was an argument, but there isn't. This is ridiculous. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Jason Caterina's got your weather. And Tom O'Hanlon's in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
I say Steve or Tom?
On 84
I can't
still-
remember.
You said Tom.
Oh, okay.
46 and 51. And in East Hartford, westbound on 84, we have slowdowns from exit 55 to 46. 91 looks good in either direction through Hartford. Now in Windsor, we have some slowdowns on the southbound side of 91, exit 35A to 32. 291 is getting the job done. Wilbur Cross looking good for now. And moving along on routes 2 and 3. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Oh, partly cloudy, breezy, and cold tonight. The low dropping down to 29. Partly sunny, breezy for us Thursday. The high 51. If you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up, it may feel a little chilly at times. Friday turning cloudy, a little milder to round out the week. The high of 57. Breezy, mild Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle, but mainly early in the day. The high of 62 Saturday. Right now, it's 51 in Meriden, 44 in Waterbury, though, 47 at Bridgeport, and 50 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
It's the Peter L. Brown Company's 65th anniversary. For a limited time, purchase high-performance double-pane windows from the Peter L. Brown Company and get an upgrade to super-efficient triple-pane glass at no additional charge. For a free estimate, please visit peterlbrown.com.
Need dental implants? Columbia Dental's prosthodontic experts specialize in placing and restoring implants for a natural, confident smile. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 Brake Best select brake rotors. Ask the brake professionals about other brake pad upgrade options. Shop your O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hard work and dreams lead to success, but easily filing your taxes with TurboTax and Credit Karma doesn't hurt either. Make filing taxes a walk in the park, because we'll pre-fill your info for you so you can file quickly and confidently. Winner! Get the peace of mind that comes with expert help. Let's go! Being powered by TurboTax means you're backed by the leading tax preparer, and we'll show you all your filing options up front so there are no surprises. File your taxes on Intuit Credit Karma today. Expert help not available with all products. Guarantee details available at turbotax.com/guarantee.
Are you a small business owner? Cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code RADIO. Swishradio.com, code RADIO.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
Now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Speaking of my homeboy, where's he been? Where has he been? Murphy! Mr. Murphy, where you been? I haven't seen you in a while. I understand people are asking him about his girlfriend, and he refuses to respond, so maybe he's just laying low online, you know. So, Chris, you're always invited, sir. You're always invited. Anyway, back to this story. Kidnapping and homeschooling. I don't know. Here is, this is Mike Cerulli of WTNH. Here's most of the whole story.
You know, when the governor first heard these allegations, like the rest of us, he was shocked and appalled. Today, he was urging lawmakers to come to the table with him to examine Connecticut's homeschool laws, see if there are areas where they could be tightened up. That focus on homeschooling has ignited sharp opposition from Republicans.
I'd like to talk with the legislature about ways we can stay in better communication, make sure those kids are being well protected, not just in school, but at homeschool as well.
Governor Ned Lamont zeroed in on Connecticut's homeschooling laws in reaction to those stomach-turning allegations of abuse in Waterbury. He strongly hinted he'd support tightening the state's homeschool regulations in order to catch potential abuse. Top Republicans fired back.
To turn this to a homeschool issue, to me, is disingenuous, And it's really, to me, smells of don't let a crisis go to waste.
Candelora said he views the governor's move as a thinly veiled attempt to use the Waterbury case as cover for an attack on the broader homeschooling movement, a movement that has found common cause with conservatives around the country.
Democrats love bureaucracy, so the more people they could get into the government system to regulate, that's what they enjoy doing.
As he looks to tighten oversight of homeschooling in Connecticut, we asked Lamont about investigations into whether or not the state agencies he leads dropped the ball.
I think that's ongoing. Look, DCF was there. They visited. I'm told the family said DCF is bothering us, and DCF referred it to the Waterbury police. But you're right. Something dropped through the cracks, and this went on for 20 years.
Something dropped through the cracks. It took 20 years before we could figure out. The poor man had to save himself. Something fell through the cracks. But yeah, but going back into the homeschooling thing, can we focus on that? Come on, folks. Come on. Lamont's done this before. After Derek Chauvin was convicted of killing George Floyd, controversially, I might add, the first thing he wanted to do was to attack Connecticut police. Had nothing to do with it. Halfway across the country, the police department in Connecticut had nothing to do with it. But the hell if he didn't take an opportunity to then go after how we need to improve policing in Connecticut. And I'm pretty sure every police officer in Connecticut was like, I'm sorry, did we have a George Floyd too? Did George Floyd die in Bristol? Like, what's he talking about? But no one pushed back at all. No one said, why conflate the two? Why drag homeschooling into this? Probably because this is something that J.B. Pritzker is talking about in Illinois. Did you know that? There's a big story there where the Board of Education, and again, that's the problem, they want to make sure that parents are teaching kids. They want to know the curriculum inside homeschools so that they can control children no matter where they are, and requiring parents to have to adhere to their rules so they don't lose one kid to indoctrinate. That's all. Ned Lamont's doing the same thing. Mike Cerulli, at the end of his report, he said this, and again, I got to give it up for Mike. And I'm glad he got the opportunity to say this in his package.
And important to note here, we don't actually know what happened to that young man if he was actually homeschooled after he was pulled out of the public school system. It's just one of many unanswered questions thus far in this case, questions that could be answered by subsequent investigation or those proposed public hearings, which to date have not yet been scheduled.
And I think that's the whole deal. No one cares about if a 32-year-old, 5'9", 68-pound man was homeschooled. I mean, it's a ridiculous stretch. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. You're losing kids. You're losing them. We screwed up so badly, we're losing kids. And if these kids aren't taught what we want them to learn, the hell, those kids are going to grow up to vote us out. What do we know about conservatives and homeschooling? They're practically one and the same. They're attached at the hip. Liberals rarely do this. They love the government education system. They're addicted to it. They believe in its policies. Never once would any of those, a leftist with a child would ever take them out of the free education space and actually apply themselves to teaching their children on their own? Hell no. You don't even have to be conservative. You could be an independent and do that, but you're definitely not a lib. So having to regulate those parents who are possibly going to raise their children under their ideals, the school system can't indoctrinate them. They can't brainwash them. That kid's at home. How's he going to get drag queen story hour? How's he going to read genderqueer for the kids at home? It's never going to happen. Let's go to Adam in East Hartford. How you doing, big guy?
Hey, Reese, good afternoon, and all the best to you and the wife.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, but what I called about, you did hit it right on the money. You got to thinking, you're right. That thing with the Lloyd Austin, that blew over.
Oh, Lloyd Austin, yeah.
Where was the criticism from the press? Where was the criticism from the Biden administration?
Not only criticism, how about this? How about the fact that John Kirby was able to ignore any questions about the location of Lloyd Austin, how long he was in a coma, who was in charge of his office while he was in a coma? They refused to even let us know and say that, has the commander-in-chief been informed? Did Lloyd Austin contact his boss, the president of the United States? How much did Biden know and when did he know it? These are questions and answers we've never received. Never.
Maybe Biden was out of it himself,
Look, Biden was out of it. But again, look, I say it tongue-in-cheek, Adam, but I said to everyone when the story broke, and I think I was on the air in Buffalo as well as here in Connecticut, and I said, not once did the old man say to anybody on his staff, hey, where's the big black guy who runs defense? Not once. In Joe Biden's speak, because Joe Biden has a tendency to just skate along the racial lines. So turn around and say, hey, that big black guy who runs the defense, the guy I promoted to defense secretary. Where's that guy? I haven't seen him in a while. Not once did he even ask.
Hey, one thing I like about you, and, you don't get offended. And the thing is that, a lot of blacks over the years, are cut out of lines or passed over for jobs. But you have no chip on your shoulder.
Nope.
And you have a good sense of humor. I just want to say that, it's wrong, the bad things on both sides. Like,
yeah.
When the black girl...
I was just going to say, I appreciate you. Trust me, I appreciate you saying that. But I gave up chips on my shoulders for Lent back in '89.
No, but I mean, like, when you had the black girl, she was fighting the white girl.
Yeah.
And she smashed her head into the concrete, not thinking that she might kill somebody by turning her brain into mush.
Yeah.
But then when you got the white that dragged the black guy from the pickup truck by the chain.
They lost
that either.
Exactly. You remember that story in Texas? They tried to, they used that as a campaign ad against George W. Bush.
That's not right either.
Yeah, that was crazy. I'll never forget that. I do remember that story. Thank you, Adam. Let's go to Ralph in South Carolina. How we doing, sir?
Oh, just having a wonderful day, Reese. A couple of things. Reese, let me ask you a question. How long does it take if you're in a wheelchair to get from Texas to New York? What do you think, Reese?
Forever, I might add. I'm going to go with at least, Texas going to what's name took me and my wife about 3 days because we stopped a lot. So in a wheelchair, I can imagine a month.
And this is what this idiot is saying. The most important thing, at least in my mind, Reese, you're pretty sharp. And the phone number of this particular reporter, the worst person in the world to be in on this, was used. How do you think that happened?
Yeah, I know. A lot of this sounds crazy. I'll put it to you this way. The forensic evidence associated with this story, I think, is going to be epic. Once they get into how he was entered into the chain of text messages, I think when we get into that, because we're going to clearly find out, they're going to find out when everyone was sort of grouped into the text, because he has made it clear when it happened, at what time of the day it was. He even says that I think he was at a Safeway parking lot going grocery shopping. So they will triangulate that particular time and get it, and then figure out exactly who was at the helm, who put all that together. Once we get there, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a matter of days, not weeks.
Well, the thing, too, again, without being redundant, why him? This guy is a huge
good point.
Progressive Democrat who hates Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the reporters that are out there, it happened to be his number. Something stinks somewhere.
I think everybody agrees with you there on that one, sir. I think everybody agrees with you there. It stinks to high heaven. And it looks like, again, when they find out, I hope it's not a low-level staffer and that's the end of it. I'm hoping it's as epic as many of the callers have suggested, that it's really, that the whole thing was a setup to expose Jeffrey Goldberg because his career is over. That's what I'm hoping. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Whoever did it, and if it was done for political reasons, should be put in jail.
Yeah, indeed. Donald writes in the chat room, if public education is being accused of indoctrinating American kids, why is it okay for homeschoolers to be indoctrinated by their parents? Oh, Donald, you didn't really ask that, did you? Okay, Donald, only because I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school, because our text exchange earlier today. Sir, you are what would be commonly considered West Indian. And I think Jamaican, if I'm correct. As somebody who is Jamaican and coming from somebody who is African-American and was raised Catholic, let me say that you and I, our ideals growing up may have been very similar, or at least I would think they were. And where you get your principles from, your ideals from, your way in which you carry yourself, all of those things are taught through your childhood, from your parents. When your parents are raising you to be I guess, a good steward in life, we call it home training, teaching you not to chew with your mouth open, to say please and thank you. These are all things that you learn in growing up. Right, while you're growing up, and I know as a Jamaican that your parents were very strict about behaviors. Every West Indian family I've known, I'm from New York, so I have a lot of friends growing up who grew up in West Indian household, and we shared our life experiences growing up and found similarities in the way in which our parents raised us. I found it amazing that when I grew up, I thought I was the only kid that was made to go out into the woods and grab a switch off a tree by myself. So I would pick the weapon to which my mom would spank me with, or in her case, beat the hell out of me with. But then I started hearing stories from other black families who were in other towns that I had never been, where their parents were doing the same things. These are cultural things that get passed on for generations, from groups to groups and people to people, right? It's the reason why, like, they're called cultural things. So it wouldn't really be indoctrination by parents. It would be value teaching in parents. If you are in a very religious household, be it Catholic or Muslim, you would probably not be teaching your child that homosexuality is proper if you were following the teachings of your specific religious point of view. You see, everyone frowns when a Catholic raises their kid to be against homosexuality, but when a Muslim teaches their child to say that homosexuality is wrong and it is against their nature, no one bats an eye. So tell me, how exactly is it indoctrination? I call it indoctrination because this is a school system dealing with many children from many different backgrounds and many different ideals that their parents are teaching them. And they are doing it against the wishes of the parent and their values. In fact, they're not even asking their consent. That's a fact. So it's only indoctrination when the school does it. At home, where most of your values are taught when you begin life, that's nowhere near indoctrination. That's just called homeschooling. That's it. Let's get another check of the weather with Jason Catarinas. Filling in for Mark Christopher. It's Tom O'Hanlon in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. On 84 eastbound, we're still looking pretty busy from exit 46 to 51. If you're going westbound, yes, you do have company across the river. We have the delays from exit 55 to 46. 91 southbound stop and go into Hartford, and 91 southbound in Windsor is still slow from exit 35 to 32. 291, we're in good shape. Wilbur Cross is getting the job done, and we're moving on routes 2 and 3. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, it'll be cloudy with a shower in spots this afternoon, the high of 50. Tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, chilly, the low down to 32. Now, partly sunny, still breezy for us Thursday. That high of 50 again will feel cool to chilly if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Partly cloudy, not as cold Thursday night, the low down to 38. Now turning cloudy Friday, but milder to round out the week with the high of 57. Friday night, we'll get a couple of showers, then a steadier rain developing. That'll linger into early parts of Saturday. Mild with occasional rain and drizzle Saturday, but again, mainly early in the day. But the high jumping up to 62. Cloudy, cooler Sunday, showers in the morning, then occasional rain and drizzle in the afternoon, the high 53. Warmer Monday with low clouds and afternoon rain, but the high moving up to 65 to kick off the new week Monday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Tune in to WTIC News Talk 1080 for Healthy Rounds, hosted by Dr. Anthony Alessi, Saturday mornings 11 till noon. Learn from the top experts in their fields about the latest medical findings and call in with your medical question. Healthy Rounds is dedicated to providing accurate and timely health information and is sponsored by Hartford Healthcare, Ratchford Eye Center, St. Francis Hospital, Covaris, and Yukon Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Healthy Rounds, Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com. And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. The woman accused of keeping her stepson locked away in their Waterbury home for 20 years was in court briefly today. Kimberly Sullivan charged with cruelty to persons. She didn't enter a plea. Prosecution wants to add conditions to her release, including possibly her wearing a GPS monitor. The now 32-year-old man was nearly starved when found after he set fire to the family home last month in an attempt to be rescued. Sullivan's attorney says she's innocent. Case is continued to Friday. State police asking for the public's assistance for any information they may have considering an armed robbery of a delivery truck driver in the Buckland Street commuter lot. This happened about 6:30 Tuesday morning. 3 masked suspects armed with handguns zip-tied the truck driver, got away with an unknown amount of Apple devices. State police continue to investigate a shooting incident on one of the local highways earlier. They say that shots rang out around 2 this morning, area of I-91 and Route 15. No injuries were reported. The Atlantic has released the entire signal chat among Trump senior national security officials. Shows that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth provided exact times of warplane launches and when bombs would drop before the men and women flying those attacks against Yemen's Houthis this month on behalf of the U.S. were airborne. The Defense Secretary and the National Intelligence Director both say there was no classified info released. Trump administration at the Supreme Court today, new emergency appeal, this time seeking approval to go ahead with cuts of hundreds of millions of dollars for teacher training. Stratford police have rounded up 15 suspects in a prostitution sting in town. Department says it conducted the operations at a number of motels around town in February and earlier this month. The detail was launched following the armed robbery of a person attempting to patronize a prostitute last year. Wall Street, the Dow finished down 132 points. NASDAQ lost 372, and the S&P was down 64 points. NBA tonight, the Celtics continue their West Coast swing in Phoenix. The Knicks host the Clippers at the Garden, and the Nets host Toronto. NHL, it's the Isles hosting Vancouver. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, Tom Shattuck here. As you know, my friend Phil has been on Awaken 180 weight loss for now 6 weeks. Let's check in with Phil.
Down 6.8 last week.
That's a lot of weight.
Since I started, I'm down officially 38 pounds.
That's more than 6 pounds a week on average. You're still losing weight at an increased clip 6 weeks into it.
I can't believe it. I'm amazed at how fast this is going. I'll be hitting target in no time. I think by sometime in early May, I'm guessing. I did a quick look, Tom, at some stats. You know, they measure the visceral fat, the fat that surrounds your organs.
Yeah.
And the rating started at 23, and now I'm down to 19. So I'm down 4 units, whatever that's measured in. I don't really know.
That is amazing. That's life-saving stuff.
And then I do understand what body mass index is. I started at 37%, and I'm down to 33%.
You can be a resounding success story like Phil. Call 844-346-1800. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime.
All right, here we go.
Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
You know who actually just friended me? And I didn't even expect it, but I just saw it and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I was just looking that up. Yeah, our sponsors. Between Rounds, right there. I put their logo on our screen. Right there. Just as I was putting the logo up on the screen, they didn't even know it was there yet. All of a sudden, they friended me on Facebook, so I appreciate that. Don't forget, the last but not least caller of the day will win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. Go to their website, betweenrounds.com. That is between, is that right? I want to make sure that I got that right because I looked it up and I thought that I went to the wrong web page. I'll turn around and give up the web page and have it wrong. But yes, betweenrounds.com. Check them out and you can find out a bunch of stuff. In the next break, I want to play this exchange with NPR. They were at Capitol Hill today. And you may remember that its new head last year made some controversial statements about telling the truth or the truth versus the First Amendment and honesty and all this other stuff. Well, there was a great exchange today when she was at Capitol Hill. And in essence, this hearing was supposed to be about whether or not NPR and PBS should continue to get funding from taxpayers. And obviously the answer is no, because of what they do. And they are just arms of the Democrat Party. They are partisan. I think there's a story that says 87-0 of their editorial board are registered Democrats. How that is fair and balanced, I have no idea. But this audio with this Representative Gills is astonishing. There's some other video out there as well, but this one I got to play for you is just incredible what these people believe or what they know. As what they're supposed to be as journalists and people who care about journalism and integrity of journalism baffles me. So we'll break all that down in a little bit, but it's a great video. I'll play some of that for you as well. Also, we've got finally found the audio for Representative Jim Himes talking to what's his name? I forget Will's last name. He's now got the show on Fox at 4. But we'll play that audio as well. And he says something astonishing in that audio, Jim Himes does. And he's caught, and he almost catches himself because he has to laugh. Because he knows what we all know. The only information, or if it was compromised by anyone, it was compromised in the hands of the journalist that Jim Himes is praising in this dialogue. You have to hear it yourself. And I've got a couple of choice words for him and that exchange as well. So stick around for that. And then, of course, we'll get into Jasmine Crockett. I do want to say, oh, you know what? I'll save it. Because Dave brought up Mia Love from Utah. I'll say something about that in a little bit. Jason Catarinas has got your weather, and Tom O'Hamlin is in for Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. We're seeing more action on 84 now. If you're going westbound, it's busy feeding up out of Route 2 into 84, crossing the river and through Hartford. Also on eastbound 84 as you're working your way up into Parkville. That's pretty slow there with a lot of stop and go up to Hartford. On 91, we're looking at some southbound delays going into Hartford and also through Windsor from exit 35A to 32. On 291, we're still in pretty good shape. Wilbur Cross is getting the job done, except for the delay on 2 feeding up into 84. It's okay, and 3 looks good. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly cloudy, breezy, and cold tonight. The low dropping down to 29, then partly sunny, breezy on our Thursday. The high of 51 will feel chilly at times, especially if you're in the shade. Then Friday, turning cloudy, milder, the high 57. Breezy and mild, occasional rain and drizzle Saturday, but mainly early in the day, the high of 62. Right now, it is 48 in New London, 50 in Mansfield, 48 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Paul Anka, all the hits, his way. Saturday, June 21st at Mohegan Sun Arena. Get tickets Friday, 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Paul Anka.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with AutoPay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Hartford Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textblind.us. Texting rules for recurring messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Yes,
Apply. Stop,
sir.
opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text MIND to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less. Percent online.
Yes,
Don't wait.
sir.
Text MIND to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text MIND to 200-300. That's MIND to 200-300. MIND to 200-300.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
So NPR. Technically, I mean, I could say that they're competitors. I mean, I could. I think it's fair to say that they are competitors. It's fair to say that they probably have a strong following. A lot of people like their ridiculous programming. That's okay. That's fine. They all talk like this. They're all very measured. They are without passion. Everything that they do is interesting and introspective. I could never do that kind of radio. God bless them. God bless them. This humble correspondent couldn't tell you anything on that network. No, I would never listen to them. When people talk about that, those folks, they say it in a way that's sort of like, you know, that who you listen to? It's really that I don't care. I don't really care. Whatever they do, that's fine. Very highbrow, you know, pinky up, you know, Chardonnay drink. I don't care. I don't care. But it's what they stand for. That I give a damn about. What they stand for is what I care about. And what they stand for is a lot of Marxist stuff. It's left-leaning and it's despicable. And the worst part of it all is that they do it in such a way that suggests, if you will, they're better than you. It's like, the White Goldman dodgeball sort of behavior. We're better than you, and we know it. And the reason why they're better than you is because they do all the things that are required. They wear all the pins. They go to all the benefits. They don't really have to do any of the work, which is expressed in this clip between Representative Brandon Gill and Catherine Mayer, the woman who heads NPR. You see, when they're telling everybody, I've read this interesting book about this, that, and the third. I was watching this lecture about how we need to be this, that, and what other crap. The truth is, they've read none of those books. The truth is, they've watched none of those lectures. They've gone to none of those seminars. They just follow suit. What are they doing? Okay, we'll rinse and repeat that. We're doing that too. What book is that? Okay, we'll promote it. No, we don't have to read it. If the elites say that this is the book that we should read, we'll read it. We'll promote it because they say it's a good book. And Catherine Mayer, she's a perfect example of that. Again, never take my word for these things. Watch them. Listen to them as they speak. Again, Representative Brandon Gill and Catherine Mayer, their exchange in Capitol Hill.
Miss Marr, I want to start with you. Just generally, would you say you generally agree or disagree with the following statement? The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles?
I would not say I agree with that.
You're not. That's good to hear. It's interesting because a lot of your thinking, as expressed by your public statements, is deeply infused with economic and cultural Marxism. Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
Really? It evolved from white supremacy to what? Just a little bit?
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
We need context that America is the land of white supremacy. We need context? I don't think so.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
Okay, you heard him, right? A book you were reading, The Case for Reparations. You quoted that based upon a book you were reading called The Case for Reparations. Catherine, how do you plead?
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
Tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that.
Took a day off. It must have been a lengthy read. Took a whole day off from work. What, 8 hours? Went through the whole book. Came to that summation that the world is about black plunder and white democracy. Don't think I read that book.
On Twitter in January of 2020.
I apologize, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I've no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't? You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. How white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I have never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
At what particular point, I've got to ask, at what point does this appear to be badgering the witness? At one point, does the judge come in and go, all right, counsel, enough? Don't just say, this is bad, okay? She's been destroyed. Oh, hell, go more.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
Yes, she said she didn't believe that reparations. What are reparations if they're not financial, if they're not fiscal? What do you think? What is reparations outside of that? You gonna give somebody a cookie? What are you gonna share lunch? What are you gonna pay their way at the toll booth? What are you talking about, reparations?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
Oh, what people?
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Oh. Okay, at this point, if I'm the judge, I would have stopped him and said, okay, you made your point. Please don't make her answer this question. Don't. Please, ma'am, you do not have to answer that. If I were her attorney, I would have said, objection, move to strike. But no. This is bad. This is bad. She's making all of these claims. She's reading all of these books. Obviously, she put her money where her mouth is, right? Clearly, she's probably contributed even to Black Lives Matter, the NAACP, the Urban League, perhaps even the United Negro College Fund. Anybody? How about a small little black outfit in, Danbury? Like a small little place. Perhaps she spent $5. Catherine, how much reparations have you paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
It's just crazy.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone
Seems
to
to
pay
be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
Oh, Jesus.
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe it's morally wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
You
illegal.
tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my time
You
at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did read that book, sir.
She's done none of the required reading. She's done none of the reading. She's contributed no money. She's promoted everything. But they don't have to do anything. They don't. They don't have to be outraged. They don't have to have any skin in the game. The whole thing is a fraud. All of it. It's all a bunch of people patting themselves on the back, talking about how much they care. Every one of them, they're a bunch of ribbons. That's it. They're about as significant as a ribbon. They're barely worth the color. They're just a bunch of ribbons, a bunch of highbrow nothings, empty suits and pantsuits. A bunch of stupid rhetoric. They don't stand by a thing that they believe. They can't. All they do is literally, they hold these dinners, they hold these functions, they award themselves for caring. We'd like to give a Lifetime Achievement Award to Catherine Mayer for caring. Come up and get this piece of glass or crystal or whatever nonsense it is that we're giving you today. Come up and get this placard and put it on the wall. Here's an achievement for giving a damn. That's all this is. It's just fake. All of it's fake, phony. It's like Kramer, I don't wear a stinking ribbon. I agree. And we're supposed to fund this? We're supposed to fund this clown show, this fake nonsense? Everything they stand for has to be defunded. Force them to compete just like everybody else does. Those guys want ad revenue, compete for it. Nobody should be subsidizing this joke. She went there to continue to ask for your money. Your money. She hasn't read any of the work that she's promoting. She doesn't even believe in half the things that she's promoting. Only thing that those tweets got her was an invite into all of the stupid clubs. That's it. That's exactly what it was. And I can't believe, dude, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? I'm going to have to give this guy a drum roll. Is that who I think it is? Let's go to the phones. Franken Woodbridge is on the line.
Yes, I'm back. How you been?
Hey, what is going on? I thought they took you back to the old country.
No, I mean, you're on at tough hours. 3 to 6 is tough. It's the final hour of the stock market.
Okay.
It's the final hour of the future market. And then dinner's at 5. But you're 100% right. This nonsense will never go away until they take the money out of it.
Exactly. And you know what? Look, we're talking about a subsidized radio and news network, right, that gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the taxpayer. And they went from 60 million viewers all the way down to 43. They went to 41 and then back up to 43. And they think while they're losing money and losing viewers or listeners, that they should continue to get the same amount of money from taxpayers. And then finding out that 87 to nothing, their editorial board were all Democrats. And they think they still are a nonpartisan news organization.
But it's just not black groups, other groups do this. Like the NAACP, how long have they been around? And really, what have they really done to benefit black people?
I don't think and it's funny because I don't think that that's their role anymore. I think they're nothing more than a political arm for the Democrat Party. I think that's it. I think they do the bidding of the Democrat Party, whatever the Democrat. And it's crazy. You know, it's the part that drives me nuts. And you know this, Frank, because again, you're from Woodbridge, so you've been around long enough to know this. What can only be described as the civil rights issue of our time is the fact that African American kids and Latino kids do not have the opportunity to go to the school of their choice. They're forced to stay in horrible schools. And the NAACP, which knows this, because the Brookings Institute tells them so, they side with the teachers' unions that keep poor black kids in poor black schools.
Yeah, because they get paid off.
Exactly.
That's right. They're profiting from it. When was the last time the NAACP was marching in one of these Democrat cities, like Chicago, the South Side?
Did you hear that? Did you hear Chicago? Chicago is the highest murder rate 13 years in a row. They are they're twice the level of murders or homicides than New York and Los Angeles combined.
All our black brothers are getting killed, and they're getting killed by black brothers.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a black man, your biggest enemy is your black brother.
I tried to tell people. I'll tell you this. This one's funny. So I have this video that's on my Facebook page when I was at January 6th at the Ellipse. And there's a video of me saying, I'm in the safest place in the world for a black man. I'm at a Trump rally.
Exactly.
And the black community was furious at me.
I was telling Roland, once in a while I get this guy accidentally, Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah.
I saw him the other night, and he was talking about homosexuality. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
he was blaming the white people for this filth.
Was he?
This evil that has come into our beautiful black culture. But one thing I will say, and you're not going to be surprised this, I told you the most beautiful woman that ever walked this earth is a black woman.
We're never going to forget,
Explain to me how a black man could be gay. I can't understand.
I think it's not how. Look, I think every culture is going to have somebody who is going to be gay, whatever the situation may be. And the fact that you even brought it up, now I got White Mike on the line who is going to tell us, I promise you, and it's not going to be pretty. And Mike, you better promise me you protect the license at all times. But I got to go. Thank you. Welcome back, Frank. I know it's hard for you to call. I knew it was because it was difficult for you to call during this hour. But I love having you, and I missed you, buddy. I will tell my wife that you called. She's going to be surprised. The NAACP is a very big Al Sharpton. Good point, Jason. They are. Tara P says that the mayor of Chicago wants to get the number rate down to 500. Is that even a goal? Let's get to Jason Catarinas in weather, but first, Tom O'Hanlon is in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. It's getting slower in 84. We're following the action going up Route 2, feeding into 84 westbound. It's pretty busy in both directions there, and then a lot of traffic across the bridge through Hartford and working your way over. Now, the eastbound side of 84, that is slow getting up into Parksville and continued pretty much up into Hartford. 91 southbound was slow from Main Street down into Hartford. You do have that southbound stop and go with work going on around Founders Bridge. 91 southbound, particularly busy exits 35A to 32. On 291, we're good in either direction. Wilbur Cross is moving, and we're looking pretty good on Route 3. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy on our Wednesday afternoon with a shower in spots, the high of 50. Then tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, chilly, the low dropping down to 32. Partly sunny, breezy for us on Thursday. That high of 50 again will feel cool to chilly if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Then on Friday, turning cloudy. It'll be milder for us as we make our way out of the week. The high moving up to 57 on Friday. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Mystic, Hamden, Putnam. When you want local news, turn to WTIC News Talk 1080, reporting on the local stories that affect you. From Manchester to Mystic, Hartford to Hamden, and Putnam to Plymouth, one radio station has your local news and breaking news as it happens. WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen on your radio, smart speaker, and on your phone with the free Odyssey app. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 49 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. During a brief court appearance today, the prosecution requested additional conditions added to the release of Kimberly Sullivan. She's a Waterbury stepmother accused of holding her late husband's son captive for over 20 years, allegedly starving him to only 68 pounds. Her attorney, John Kalidas, has 2 days to answer to the motion.
And I'm sorry that she's been convicted worldwide and everyone wants to proceed to a lynching. But we have a system. She has rights, the same rights that everyone else has, and we intend on protecting those rights.
He says the accusations against Sullivan are false.
It's so awesome that he's got the whole world on his side, and I just hope that he can heal with dignity and privacy, and that's really it.
Speaking outside Waterbury Superior Court today, Heather Tessman, the victim's half-sister there, her biological mother gave up custody of Tessman and the victim in the early 1990s, hoping they'd have a better life. Both hope to be reunited with him someday for the first time since he was born. The Atlantic released the transcript of a chat about the bombing of Yemen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says did not disclose any war plans.
My job is to provide updates in real time, general updates in real time, keep everybody informed. That's what I did.
Chat laid out plans and times of airstrikes before military took to the air. Correspondent Charlie Daggett at the Pentagon.
People are asking me, what do they think here at the Pentagon? What are people feeling? It's genuine bewilderment. They're astonished at what's happened.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
If this story proves anything, it proves that Democrats and their propagandists and the mainstream media know how to fabricate, orchestrate, and disseminate a misinformation campaign quite well.
Some lawmakers want an inspector general investigation to look into the use of the Signal app. Secretary of State Rubio weighing in. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
The Secretary of State acknowledged.
Obviously, someone made a mistake.
He said there was no classified information on the text chain.
Well, the Pentagon says it was not. And not only did they say it was not, they make very clear that it didn't put in danger anyone's life or the mission.
And says the White House is looking into how it happened.
How did that journalist get on there? Why? Was this the appropriate? I think there'll be reforms and changes made, so this was not going to happen again. It can't.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
An arrest has been made in connection with a shooting death of a New York City cab driver in Windsor Locks 20 years ago. Windsor Locks police say 38-year-old Muhammad Ali was picked up Wednesday today in Dublin, Ohio by the U.S. Marshals Service. He'd been wanted for the February 2005 shooting death of Nureed Hussein. He was found with at least one gunshot wound in a car off exit 42 of Interstate 91. Police and marshals say the suspect was taken into custody at a home in Dublin. Police say the case went cold but was reopened, and an arrest warrant for Ali's arrest was secured. Windsor Locks police say they are working on extraditing Ali back to Connecticut, where he will be arraigned on the murder charge. Secretary of the State Stephanie Thomas is decrying an executive order signed this week by President Trump designed to overhaul U.S. elections. Thomas says the mandate's an overreach and would harm eligible voters with unnecessary requirements.
Connecticut does not need another sloppy edict from the White House. We already have strong and secure elections and don't need the federal government mandating things that we already do.
Thomas says, among other things, Connecticut already bans foreign spending in elections, complies with the Voting Rights and Help America Vote Acts, only counts votes received on Election Day, and uses paper ballots. On Wall Street, markets finished down today. The Dow lost 132 points, NASDAQ down 372, and the S&P was down 64 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Oh, by the way, it's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second-guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your... Here we go. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
So, of course, we got plenty of other stuff that we need to get into. I'm going to talk about the Jasmine Crockett fallout. I don't think that anybody is going to censure her. If they do, I don't think that vote's going to pass. I think if they're smart, just let her keep talking. But I wanted to say something about what Dave said earlier in his phone call about mentioning African Americans of prominence on the conservative side. Walter Williams, of course, Shelby Steele, Thomas Sowell, and things of the like. I talk about those folks all the time. I'll never not talk about them. I love all of them. But I kind of have to stop short of Mia Love. It's unfortunate. I know she passed away at age 49. And I remember when she was the first Republican woman to be elected in Congress. And it was a big deal. I remember that many people on the Democrat side barely mentioned the achievement that she made in getting elected in Utah, of all places. But I will tell you this, and again, I don't know if it's a Utah thing, but it bothered me. Nothing against Mia Love, and I'm not questioning her conservatism. But I am questioning her loyalty as a person who was in office, then out of office, and then in trying to reinvent herself or finding her space, she did something that, in my view, is unforgivable. And I said this for Mitt Romney, and I will say this for Mia Love. Do not cozy up to the people who are sent to destroy you for the sake of saving your own hide. That's what Mitt Romney did. And in my view, that's what Mia Love did. I would never saddle up with those hags over at The View, regardless of what I was trying to promote. It isn't worth my integrity, and nor would I ever allow them to get me to capitulate, as she did, to the rhetoric they were spewing at the time. So It is unfortunate that she's passed. And, of course, you don't disrespect those who have passed away. I'm not trying to do that. But I don't have a lot of glowing things to say about her because she capitulated, much like Mitt Romney did, to the left, trying to save her own hide and getting their good graces. I never, ever liked that. I'm not down for that. Let's get back to your weather with Jason Catarinas. Tom O'Hanlon is in the BPS Traffic Center filling in for Mark Christopher.
It is steady traffic on 84 if you're going westbound, feeding up from Route 2 and crossing the river. Plenty of company there as we continue to see the brake lights. And if you're going eastbound on 84, working your way up into Parkville, it's moving, but it's moving slowly. We have steady traffic there. Also looking at 91, it's busy from Main Street down into Hartford. You have southbound stop and go working into the construction zone by Founders Bridge. Founders Bridge, by the way, busy if you're going westbound into Hartford. And 91 southbound slow from exit 35A to 32. On 291, we're good. Wilbur Cross is moving, so is Route 3. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, there's some showers out of the radar, mostly around New Haven and Newtown, a little bit around Torrington and Burlington as well. Outside of that, off and on action as we head through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. For tonight, though, it'll become partly cloudy, breezy, a cold night, the low down to 29, partly sunny, a breezy day for us tomorrow. A high 51, if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up, it's going to feel cool. Then tomorrow night, not as cold, the low down to 36 under partly cloudy skies. Friday turning cloudy, a little milder, the high 57. Some showers on Friday night, then a steadier rain developing that's going to linger into early Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle early in the day. Then breezy and mild, the high 62 Saturday, cloudy and cooler Sunday. Some showers in the morning, occasional rain and drizzle in the afternoon, the high of 53. Right now, it's 41 in Waterbury, 39 in Danbury, Bristol at 44 and 48 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is available in both a delicious gummy or tablet. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Don't let a root canal scare you. Columbia Dental's endodontic experts provide gentle and effective root canal therapy. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203. 800-253-6203.
Welcome to Staples.
Print it all for any business?
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. I want to play this before I get to the phones. And don't forget, last but not least, caller of the day wins 8 dozen bagels a month for 6 months. courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. We put the logo right up there for you so you can see them as well. You know, you can open up a franchise if you want. Go to their website. Anyway, we'll give you those details as well. I want to play this real quick. This is Tulsi Gabbard being asked about classified information shared on the Signal chat. You know, the one everybody's talking about. This is how that went.
Were there any names in the Signal chat?
No.
Any targets?
No.
Any locations?
No.
Was there a unit name or location of that unit?
There was not.
Were there any routes described in the Signal chat?
No.
Wouldn't an operational plan contain that type of information?
Every operational plan I've ever seen has contained that information.
Case closed. Unless you're going to make something else out of it. I mean, seriously, I know you guys are reaching. I know you're like, stretching. I know. But remember, classified information has to give that detail. Let's do it again.
Were there any names in the Signal chat?
You read it. I hope you read it. I hope you're not out here beefing, haven't read it. Better go read it.
No.
Any targets?
I know that's not in there.
No.
Any locations?
No.
Was there a unit name or location of that unit?
There was not.
Were there any routes described in the Signal chat?
No.
Wouldn't an operational plan contain that type of information?
Every operational plan I've ever seen has contained that information.
Oh, and Tulsi Gabbard, member of the Armed Services? Yeah, I'd say so. To the phones we go. 860-522-WTIC. Sean's in Meriden. How are you, sir?
Good. Real quick, I thought it was your information is. I love listening to your show because I learn a lot, and if I'm off someplace, I can get corrected, and that's good. It's good for me.
Thank you.
But so much of what you've said and what people have clarified has been verified. But one of the things that I for like the crime that was mentioned about Chicago and the murder rate.
Yes.
The number one thing that in my lifetime, and I'm 65 years old, the number one thing that I was praying for was Barack Obama to go back to his city of Chicago and be the role model they needed.
Yeah.
That was one key opportunity the United States of America had to really change the dynamic of that city.
That's true.
And he had 8 years to do it, and he did not give a rat's behind.
It's so true in the sense, Sean, that at the time when Chicago had reached well over 800 homicides in the city, Barack Obama was the sitting president at the time. Another case was Laquan McDonald. A lot of people don't remember this story, but Laquan McDonald was shot and killed by a police officer. And in the dash cam video, they show Laquan walking towards police with the knife in his hand. He is shot and killed. He's at least, I want to say 10, maybe 12 feet away, shot and killed. The mayor of Chicago was Rahm Emanuel. Anyone who knows that name, who's in this image, for those of you who don't, Rahm Emanuel was the former chief of staff under the Obama administration. Obama had endorsed him as the mayor of Chicago. The African-American community told Barack Obama that if he endorsed Rahm Emanuel and not a black mayor, that they would shun Barack Obama. He did it anyway. Rahm Emanuel became the mayor. When Laquan McDonald was shot by police, Rahm Emanuel kept the video, the dash cam video, away from reporters or the public for over 400 days. He had to be sued in order to reveal the video in Chicago. Do you remember that?
Yep.
So I always look at this and say, you're right. Barack Obama talked about gun violence. Remember, he was very vocal on Sandy Hook. And many people in the African-American community, Chicago in particular, said that he cared more about what was going on in Sandy Hook instead of the murders, the countless murders that were happening in Chicago. But again, nobody covered that either.
Well, and the key thing is Dems that I've known and seen and watched have always been pro take the guns away, but you're not in the cities and you're not willing to help the cities change to then make the guns a non-issue for that situation.
Indeed.
But the reason why I called in particular is this tragedy in Waterbury.
Yes.
Because I heard the governor say, we're going to look into homeschooling and the problems with homeschooling to address the issue with this gentleman going 30 years.
20 years.
How much?
20 years. 20 years.
20 years. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. I called the governor's office and I said, listen, here's my question. Why isn't there a DCF investigation? Because I work with family preservation, and every week I had to present my case, my progress, my time, my efforts, my miles to the 10th of a mile to make sure I got compensated for everything. So how do you go 20 years?
Yeah.
And the DCF worker doesn't know, the DCF supervisor doesn't know, the district manager doesn't know. Nobody knows.
And you were, look, if I remember correctly, Sean, you were involved in this. You were involved in the DCF process, or I guess in the apparatus.
Correct.
But back in the 80s. So the detail that you had to give towards that job back in the late 80s, early 90s, clearly we're talking 20 years, which again is post 2001. They clearly should have improved on the operational skills of the DCF, far beyond when your tenure was there. So it goes to show they haven't improved.
Well, I worked that job for 21 years. So from 80, 89, 21 years later, I was still having to do the same thing all the way through.
Yeah.
Somebody
dropped the ball badly. But the other part about it is that as you fairly mentioned, Lamont has no interest in even investigating DCF, because if you heard in that package, DCF, there's obviously somebody dropped the ball here, but we need to focus on homeschooling. I got to let you go, Sean, but thank you, man. I appreciate you. Let me go to Mike in Plainville. How you doing, Mike?
I wouldn't expect anything less ignorant from Lamont making a comment like that.
Is that crazy?
He doesn't know what day it is or what month or who the president is, for God's sakes.
The fact that he's ignoring what everyone talked about and the focus has been on DCF to then switch gears and then make it about homeschooling. And I hear NBC is now pretty much echoing the governor in asking the question if homeschooling played a role in his in his torture in some way.
I don't see the correlation.
I don't either.
Am I missing something?
No.
You had the woman. You were replaying the woman that was. She was.
Oh, NPR.
Yeah.
I told you.
What's the problem?
These people they don't have to look. They don't have to do the work. All they have to do is say that they support it. All they have to do is say that they report it. They have to wear the pin. Show you're wearing the pin, and that's how you know you're down. Thank you, Mike. Let's go to, here we go. All right, everybody hold on to your hats. I love this guy. I told you that. I love him. He's going to be good. I know he's going to be good. White Mike is in Florida. How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, such trepidation and such performance anxiety you're giving me now.
I'm sorry. I love teasing them. They love you, Mike. Don't listen. I do that just for performance. Everybody loves you, man. Everybody says you need your own show, and I'm going to echo that. You are you're a delight. I just love giving the impression that I'm scared to death of what you're going to say next.
All right, so your caller, like 2-3 callers ago, said he didn't understand how any black man could be gay.
Oh, Frank in Woodbridge. He's okay. Please understand where Frank's coming from. If you haven't heard him before, he loves black women. He thinks that they're the bee's knees. Nothing falls ahead of black women. He thinks they're the finest specimen God ever created. So that's where that's coming from.
Oh, God bless him. He made up for you.
Yes, he got all of my black jonesing.
So I did a little research real quick because I didn't know what the gay percentage was in the black community. And I found an article on Psychology Today from like 2012.
Okay.
That said young black and Latino men are 50% more likely than white men to admit being gay.
This is true.
50%. there's a whole lot of Lamar Latrells out there, apparently.
It's so true. I've talked about this a long time ago. It's funny that you mentioned that in 2012. I actually did this report that said that there was a high propensity of Latino men that were falling into, the homosexuality fold. And many people in the Latin community were very outraged by this. But then I said, creeping behind that, no pun intended, but creeping behind that were African-American males. And people didn't, because I know that you remember this, White Mike. Do you remember that phenomenon in the 90s that was called the down low brother?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That clip that goes around from, like, Law and Order SVU
That's
with
right.
Ice-T.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's weird, but what was I going to talk about? Dude, does anybody in the world find Jasmine Crockett's look attractive?
Oh, yes.
I don't understand, because that thing on her head is not even approximating human hair. I mean, it's human hair, but it's not hers. It clearly does not grow out of her hair.
No.
Normal
That's
human
without a doubt.
beings don't have hair that's that thick at the end of the strands. And her hair looks like you couldn't penetrate it with a 22 bullet.
My wife is very, very fascinated with the fact that she walks around that with it like on her head, and she doesn't have someone in her fold to tell her it looks bad.
It looks. It's clearly. It's not even a weave, dude. That's a lace front wig.
Yes, without a doubt.
She glues that on every morning.
Without a doubt.
And then she's got the weird. There's a thing with black women that they get these weird, like tarantula false eyelashes.
Yes.
I don't understand it, because I don't think, like, unless the brothers are really into that, I don't know who it's for.
I think, look, I'll be honest with you. I don't think that that fashion, so to speak, is ever perpetuated or promoted in the African male community. I think it's really dominated by the hairdresser space. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that that's sort of a look within that space, and that space is dominated by, God, I'm going to get in trouble, overweight black women and gay black men.
And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to tell you, I had a thought. I thought, watching what's going on in the world, I'm saying it's pretty good time to be a white guy right now. We're kind of running stuff.
Yes.
Well, dude, think about it, okay? Who are the best players in the NBA right now?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's Luka Doncic and the Joker. Who's the best college basketball player right now?
Oh, wait a minute. I know who that kid is. Who's he play for?
Duke.
Duke, that's what I knew you were. Okay, yes. Getting Duke, yes.
The Flag is a 17-year-old true freshman who's putting up double-doubles all the time. And he's playing like a grown man. What's the only team in the WNBA that has any sort of success?
I don't know.
Indiana Fever.
Oh, wow.
That
Oh, yeah.
is
Okay.
Not only Caitlin Clark, but they just brought in some other, like, hot blonde white girl to be like her enforcer.
So wait, hold on. Before you go down this whole rabbit hole, what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that the African American community is sort of they're laying down their they're giving away sort of like some of the prominent or dominance they've had in these sports? Is that what you're saying?
No, we've just decided it's time to take it back. And
is that what you think is going on?
And who's the best running back in the NFL, realistically?
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. We have some kick-ass white cornerbacks and
that's
safeties
true
on the Eagles. With the exception of quarterback, we're kind of dominating the NFL in the skill positions.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Oh, we have effectively killed Disney. So white people stood up and killed Disney. We killed them. We said no to Black Captain America. We said no to Black Little Mermaid.
I'm so mad at that. Listen to me.
We said no to Brown Snow White.
We're
going to say no to Black Ironheart.
Let me say this. They've delayed that Ironheart thing forever. It may just get canceled. Let me say this on the Black Little Mermaid thing, just so everybody knows. I said this before, and I'll say it again. The Black Little Mermaid failed in going woke for one reason and one reason alone. Here was a black mermaid who lived under the sea in what we can be only described as the most multicultural society known to man. And at the end of the movie, she still left with the white guy.
Well, and not just that, dude. I thought that movie That movie was very irresponsible.
Yes.
Because it portrayed, the Little Mermaid as a black woman, a black girl.
Uh-huh.
And that's targeted at a race of people who are known for being terrible swimmers. So how many little girls died? I mean, you're hearing like Shaquisha.
That's a really good point, because remember what Daytona Beach Police Department did. They removed swimming as a requirement to become a police officer in the Daytona Police Department. I'll never forget that. I got to take a break, Mike. I got to go. Jason Catarinas has got your weather, and Tom O'Hanlon is in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. We're looking at plenty of traffic if you are going eastbound on 84. It looks like as of now we still have some slowdowns before you get up into Parkville. Some sort of a fender bender there still in the works. On the westbound side of 84, as you're heading over from Route 2, steady traffic across the river, and then it starts to ease up. Heading down 91, we've seen some stop and go, working your way down into Hartford, from Main Street down into Hartford. Founders Bridge, by the way, westbound, you're going to see some delays, and you have a construction zone there too. Wilbur Cross is okay. Route 3 is moving. And if you're traveling anywhere near Plainville, it's a two-car crash on Route 72 westbound between exits 4 and 5. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy on our Wednesday afternoon with a shower in spots, the high of 50. Then tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, chilly, the low dropping down to 32. Partly sunny, breezy for us on Thursday. That high of 50 again will feel cool to chilly if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Then on Friday, turning cloudy. It'll be milder for us as we make our way out of the week. The high moving up to 57 on Friday. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 5:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. President Trump is announcing new tariffs on automobiles effective April 2nd. The tariff is 25% on foreign-made cars and trucks. Trump says the tariffs will result in $100 billion in tariff revenue for the U.S. Woman accused of keeping her now adult stepson holed up in their home in Waterbury for 20 years was in court today. Kimberly Sullivan's case continued to Friday. State's looking to add conditions to her release. The man set fire to their home last month, weighing only 68 pounds when rescued, saying he'd been given little food and only let out in small time increments over the decades. Simsbury police charging a Coventry man with arson and attempted homicide stemming from an incident last year. Adam Julian is charged. Simsbury police say he threw Molotov cocktails at a home in town last November. The Atlantic released the entire signal chat among Trump's senior national security officials. Shows Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth provided the exact times of warplane launches and when bombs would drop before the men and women flying those missions against Houthi rebels this month on behalf of the U.S. were in the air. Hegseth insists that no classified information was released. And the UConn women's basketball team headed to Spokane for the Sweet 16. They were given a big send-off at the Storrs campus today. Huskies will take on third-seeded Oklahoma Saturday at 5:30. Dow down 132 points on Wall Street today. NASDAQ and the S&P also down as well. NBA tonight, the Celtics continue their West Coast swing in Phoenix against the Suns. The Knicks host the Clippers. The Nets are home to Toronto. And in the NHL, Vancouver visits the Isles. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, Tom Shattuck here. As you know, my friend Phil has been on Awaken 180 weight loss for now 6 weeks. Let's check in with Phil.
Down 6.8 last week.
That's a lot of weight.
Since I started, I'm down officially 38 pounds.
That's more than 6 pounds a week on average. You're still losing weight at an increased clip 6 weeks into it.
I can't believe it. I'm amazed at how fast this is going. I'll be hitting target in no time. I think by sometime in early May, I'm guessing. I did a quick look, Tom, at some stats. You know, they measure the visceral fat, the fat that surrounds your organs.
Yeah.
And the rating started at 23, and now I'm down to 19. So I'm down 4 units, whatever that's measured in. I don't really know.
That is amazing. That's life-saving stuff.
And then I do understand what body mass index is. I started at 37% and I'm down to 33%.
You can be a resounding success story like Phil. Call 844-346-1800. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Will new tariff businesses, rising costs, and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code RADIO. Swishradio.com, code RADIO.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better
Yeah,
than
Tim.
$5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck saluting the broadcaster at 100. Happy birthday, WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hey, I never got to do one. Maybe I'll do one. Hey, get on the phones, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Coming up is your last but not least call of the day. Who wins a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds. That's that sponsor right there. The Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Manchester, and Vernon. And I like it when the ladies call up to win a bagel. I don't know what it is, but the ladies like the bagels. I have no idea what that means, but they just do. And so give us a call, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Jim Himes was on Will Cain's show. I couldn't remember the guy's name for the life of me. Look, I'll admit, this may have been a little bit of biased reporting because his best friend happens to be Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. So his defense of him, I understand. But this exchange, look, he's got Jim Himes dead to rights here. Jim Himes is trying to score political points. Without a doubt, I don't expect Democrats to do anything other than that. They're having a very, very bad 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So they need this, and they're going to ride it and see what they can get out of it. You know, so they can win some popularity or win the news cycle. So they need this story. So this was that exchange.
Well, what we're talking about here, and I've spent a decade now watching how our intelligence community communicates with the warfighter. So I am not going to listen to you tell me that this is about a partisan advantage. It is a mistake, and yes, it's a very serious mistake. Because if you make a mistake in Social Security and grandma doesn't get a phone call through, that's bad. But there is not zero risk that our young men and women in uniform, the ones who flew those F-35s and F-18s,
Congressman, how was an American life put into jeopardy?
We will find out.
Congressman, how?
Because
fine, you've made a claim. Tell me how an American life was put into jeopardy.
Now, Jim Himes, you know that if it were me, I would have, one, stopped you, cut off your mic, and I would have said to you, 13 Americans died in Afghanistan in the pullout. If you're talking about people's lives, nobody died here. None of our people, other people died with a terrorist. What are you talking about? You believe that it's something far worse should someone die. Well, guess what? Something far worse happened. What was your position on that, Representative? What was it? What was your position on it? I'd be happy to deal with this for you, but you got to tell me what your position is. You believe that this is serious, so tell me, how serious were you then? And trust me, all I have to do, folks, is go look up what Jim Himes was saying about the pullout of Afghanistan to tell you. But again, he says this is serious, and he can't answer it. Watch.
Because in an insecure channel, in what was acknowledged as a mistake before, whether it was a day or 2 hours or 5 hours, in a signal chat that we know. Do you want an answer to your question? In a signal chat that we know that the Russians could intercept, they might have told the Houthis in an hour. And in half an hour, they're moving their anti-aircraft stuff around. It is by the grace of God.
Jim, how would they have known where to move their aircraft around from this signal exchange? That was never discussed in the exchange at all. It was never there. Russians couldn't tell them to move anything because they didn't know anything in that exchange. How do we know?
Were there any names in the signal chat?
No.
Any targets?
No.
Any locations?
No.
Was there a unit name or location of that unit?
There was not.
So the Russians would have told the Houthis what? What? What are you talking about? You guys are running yourselves into the ground to look like idiots. More, Jim.
That we don't have dead pilots or sunken ships right now. And I will tell you, whether it's a big mistake or a small mistake, to then go and attack Jeffrey Goldberg.
Oh, so now he's concerned about Jeffrey Goldberg.
Without whom we wouldn't even know about this mistake. It's got to make...
Including Jeffrey Goldberg was the mistake.
That's right. Including Jeffrey Goldberg was the mistake. They're all ahead of their skis on this one. Let's get another check of the weather with Jason Catarinas. Tom O'Hanlon's in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. 84 westbound still has plenty of traffic from Route 2 over to the river. We're looking at a lot of brake lights there. Slow across the river. That continues through Hartford and doesn't really open up until you're getting over near West Hartford. On the eastbound side of 84, still that traffic working up through Parkville and continuing up into the city. 91 southbound, still some stop and go from Main Street to Hartford. And Founders Bridge is still loaded up on the westbound side into Hartford. It's getting the job done, but you do have some brake lights. 291's okay. Wilbur Cross is moving. Route 3 looks good. And if you're traveling near Plainville, a two-car crash on Route 72 westbound between exits 4 and 5. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly cloudy, breezy tonight after a few showers this afternoon and evening. The low down to 29. Partly sunny and breezy for Thursday, the high of 51. Partly cloudy to around 9, not as cold, the low down to 36. Turning cloudy Friday, the high 57. Showers become a steadier rain Friday night, linger into early parts of Saturday, but Saturday will be breezy and mild with the high 62 later on. Then cloudy and cooler with showers in the morning, occasional rain and drizzle in the afternoon Sunday, the high of 53. Right now it's 39 in Danbury, 41 in Waterbury, 48 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Paul Anka, all the hits, his way. Saturday, June 21st at Mohegan Sun Arena. Get tickets Friday, 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Paul Anka.
Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 Brake Best Select brake rotors. Ask the brake professionals about other brake pad upgrade options. Shop your O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Every sandwich has bread, every burger has a bun, but these warm, golden, smooth steam buns, these are special, reserved for the very best. The Filet-O-Fish, and you can have them too.
And you can have it all at 2 for $6, like a Filet-O-Fish, Big Mac, 10-piece McNuggets, or large fries. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Single item at regular price.
If your air conditioner and furnace are over 10 years old, they've pretty much gone to the dogs. But at Ayala Home Services, we can fetch you a free furnace with our 2-for deal. For a limited time, when you purchase a new air conditioning system, you receive a free furnace. We also offer free, no-obligation estimates for these new systems. Call, click, or text and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768A, D10401465, E11856443, S33086999, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Last but not least, caller of the day coming up. But in order to win, you got to call 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. You could win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Manchester, and Vernon. Now, Roland, I may be putting you on the spot, but don't give anything away. Did you get any sort of memo from, the folks over there at Between Rounds in the last day or two? Like nothing? Anything?
Memo about...
Okay, then if you didn't get it, then you wouldn't know. Okay, all right. No, it's okay. That's not a bad thing. It just means you haven't received it yet. Okay, so we're waiting. We're going to wait. I'm hoping. I've got my fingers crossed that this is going to happen. So, what day is today? What we're on Wednesday?
26.
26. How many days? It was like 30 days have September, April, June, and November. By the way, do you know how to do that? Like if you don't know how many days are in a month, you have to say that rhyme.
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's called 30 days have September, April, June, and November. And the rest are 31 except for 28 in February. That's the way I always remember how many days are in the months.
Yeah, I never cared. I don't care how many days are in the month.
Everybody cares. Everybody cares. If you have to look up a date, it's good for you to know. All right, so March.
I care about payday. That's it.
It's okay. So as you may have heard me mention yesterday, a week from today is National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. And so we're all going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, with the exception of Roland, who is going to have, what do you have, any apple preserves or what kind of a new fancy?
No, just apple jelly.
Just apple jelly. Goodness gracious. He's so fancy. But everybody's going to have peanut butter and jelly on that Tuesday for lunch. And, we're going to talk about that. I learned that rhyme in homeschool. Did you, Richard? I did not know that. See, I learned that growing up, and I'm a dropout. Peanut butter and jelly. That's going to be Tuesday's lunch here. And again, I'm not saying that you all need to have peanut butter and jelly, but so here's what I want to do. And I think this would be cool for Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Let's see if we can get pictures of your peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because everyone has a peanut butter and jelly sandwich made a particular way. Let me ask you this, Roland, do you eat your peanut butter and jelly sandwich whole or do you slice it?
First of all, I fry it. That's the number one.
Yes, I know that part. But when you eat it, what do you do? Like, do you eat it whole or do you slice it?
I slice it diagonally.
Everybody does it diagonal. I refuse. I can't do it diagonal for some reason. I just won't.
Drop a couple of pieces of parsley flakes over the top.
Why?
Just for decor.
Oh, you make a designer peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Correct.
You are so bougie. You are bougie. Oh my goodness.
Well, people call me the broke bougie man.
They do. I don't. Okay. So I'm hoping that everybody. Maybe we should. I'm going to see if we can set it up where everyone can, if you want to participate, to send a picture of your peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Doesn't matter if it's in a Ziploc, maybe you've got it in a lunchbox, but whatever it is, we're going to set it up where you can send an email, or I will actually, you know what we should do? We should do it in a text. That's what we'll do, because anybody can send that from your phone. You don't have to send an email. So we'll do the telephone number 202-735-1288. Again, 202-735-1288. I'll promote that during the day. So April 2nd, Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, everybody can send a text message of their peanut butter and jelly sandwich to that text message. And then, if we do that during the day, then we'll see if we can get the pictures up on the air. And we'll give you, your props in doing that. First of all, this is the first sandwich I learned how to make. So that's why it's so important to me. It is always, there are a lot of things that are near and dear to me. Empire Strikes Back, 1980. It's still one of the most important things that in my life. Why are you laughing at me? Why? Because I'm so sentimental on these things.
In 1980 is the most important time of your life.
It was 1980, going to see The Empire Strikes Back because my mom took me to the movie theater, to go watch that. And it's the one rare time that, I mean, my mom is a big movie buff, and I think I got my love of movies from my mom. And when she took me to go see The Empire, I went to go see the original Star Wars with my Uncle Dennis. And he was crazy about that movie, and he introduced me to Star Wars. And so, of course, having to go see The Empire Strikes Back would then turned out to be my favorite film of all time. My mom took me to that, and so that's the association. So those things, matter to me. And peanut butter and jelly sandwich was the first sandwich I was able to make on my own when I was a kid. And my foster mother, Helen Patterson, let me make my own. She goes, "Would you like to make your own sandwich?" And I was like, "Yes." And she was like, "Here, you can make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." And I made it, and I kind of felt independent. And I made it a certain way where the peanut butter was on one bread, and instead of putting the jelly on the opposite slice of bread, she taught me to put the jelly on top of the peanut butter and then put the plain slice of bread on top of it. And I've been making it that way. Yes, I know. I've been making it that way ever since. But then when I got old enough and nobody could stop me, I made my first triple-decker peanut butter.
That's what I always make.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's the best.
That is the best. Absolutely. It's unbeatable. And it's funny because you would think something that simple would never make anybody, like no one would ever say, who's like, I like it when you make a peanut butter jelly. It's a sandwich. There's no way you can, there's no.
No, you can mess it up. You can
yeah,
have too
it's
much
funny.
jelly,
It's so true.
Peanut butter.
Yeah, you can mess it up. And my wife said to me one day, she goes, "I want you to make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." And I made it. She was like, "It's so good when you make it." And so now I consistently make it. It's another thing, and I'll say this before I get to the phones. And somebody call on a hotline. I'd love to know who that is.
Oh, that's Tom O'Hanlon.
Oh, okay.
I'll get him.
Okay. My wife, we were talking about at the beginning of the show about me getting stuff right in the news. If there's anything that drives my wife crazy is when I get the news right. She actually thinks that is the hottest thing in the world because she's so smart, and it scores me points. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, try spreading that government peanut butter out the can and see how that spread on
Are
the
you
bread.
kidding me?
It's not fun.
It's the worst.
You have to toast your bread.
It's the worst. It's the worst. All right, now let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Chip is in Coventry. How you doing, Chip?
You guys crack me up. Hey, what's the matter with peanut butter and fluff? I mean,
Everybody likes peanut butter and fluff. I get it. Don't get me wrong. Jason Catarinas is a big fan of fluff and Nutella and all that stuff. It's way too much for me. And the jelly thing, like I said, it's sentimental, but I get the fluff thing. I get it.
Okay, just real quick, just bear with me, because I know you're a very patient guy.
Yes, sir.
So whenever I hear Frank, this is nothing personal. Whenever he says the most beautiful woman is a black woman, I'm thinking, well, what about? I don't see color. If I see someone who I think in my eyes that's pretty black, brown, Asian, Puerto Rican,
sure,
I don't say the most beautiful woman is even though I am attracted to Latinas.
Okay, so you're partial with Latinas. Okay, so I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing, Chip. Look, listen, I love blondes, I love redheads, I love brunettes, but truth be told, I'm partial to redheads. I just am.
And that's okay. That's your prerogative. And I'm sure your wife is probably, in your eyes, the most beautiful, no matter what color she is.
That's
the
right.
most beautiful lady in the world. Now,
yes.
This might blow some people away. Even though I think Jasmine Crockett, I think she's really pretty. The problem with her, when she opens up her mouth, the beauty goes away.
That's,
okay,
you know what?
You can get them eyelashes at the Dollar General.
That's, you're 100% right. The attractiveness will actually be, it's like, you know what it is? Imagine meeting the most beautiful girl in the world, and she's got the most heinous laugh ever. And you're scared to death to make her like, she's beautiful, she's smart, and then you tell a joke and she goes, and you would be like, oh God.
Can I just say one last thing? Because this is really, really serious about when Jasmine Crockett made that comment about Governor Abbott, I didn't even know he was in a wheelchair. I worked in the group home for 20 years for the state, for the mentally and physically challenged. And I had, my job was to help them, bathe them, feed them.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I have a heart. Oh, yeah, 20 years. They were like my family. They knew my family.
Yeah.
So when she made that comment, I'm like, that was like, it was hurtful. And I'm like,
yeah, it's
oh
outrageous. Listen.
How can she?
It's outrageous because you remember, listen, she's not into politics or personal destruction. She's a cruel person. That's who she is. In her heart, she's a cruel person. And she believes that she scores political points with her cohorts, with people who associate with her, like the hip hop crowd. She's trying to bring that level of discourse from the hip hop crowd into the halls of Washington. It doesn't fly over. It doesn't do well. And it does make her look ugly. And guess what? While she's trying to stand her ground to a constituency that doesn't vote, she's going to rue the day. Promise you, she's going to lose her seat in office. Thank you, Chip. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's go to, do I have time? Yeah, let's go to Corey in Meriden. Corey's been on hold. Hey, how are you, Corey?
Oh, not bad, man. I don't want to end this on a bad note. I don't want to be serious either, but, man, you got peanut butter jelly on my mind right now.
No problem. What do you got going on, sir?
No, nothing, man. I'm just concerned about one thing, but it's like I want to do this on the upper scale note here.
No, go for it.
When it comes to the peanut butter and jellies,
yeah,
Roland's been watching too much Gordon Ramsay.
You know what? Listen, he will take food to the umpteenth level. I've never seen a guy in my life who is crazy about food. He told me before the show that he was online watching videos of people trying gumbo. That is the sickest fetish I've ever heard of in my entire life. Like, he's sitting there watching me go, okay, it's like, now we're going to eat the gumbo. And Roland's like, yeah, eat it.
Can you imagine the Reese radio show not only being on the airwaves, but just a nice little casual restaurant right in Hartford to revive what we remember?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate you, sir. Last but not least, caller of the day is Ed in Glastonbury. The winner of a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. How are we doing, Ed?
I'm doing great now. I was calling this the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's awesome.
That's okay, because now you can have it on a Between Rounds bagel.
Oh, man, that is wonderful. So, Reese, here's my take on peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
First of all, I prefer strawberry jam or jelly. That's number one.
Okay.
And number two, when you bite into it, the jelly has to be on the top.
Yes, always. Jelly must be on top. Absolutely. And it's got to be, look, I'm kind of a pristine person when I eat. There are only two things that I can deal with eating that are messy. As a kid, I really did love sloppy joes at school. I know a lot of people didn't. It's like, that's not made with real meat. It was when I was a kid. I love sloppy joes, but peanut butter and jelly, there is nothing better than getting peanut butter or jelly or both in the inside of your hand, between your thumb and your index finger, right in that corner, because it was just too much of it just oozing outside the bread, and you get it there, and you have to lick your hands. I'm sorry, but I still do it, and I'm 55 years old.
There you go.
You got it, buddy.
As long as it oozes in my mouth, I'll take it.
You got it. Okay.
Pause.
Ed in Glastonbury, our last but not least caller of the day. Shut up, Roland.
That's a violation.
You're the worst. I'm not even going down that road. I'm not. Oh, Marcy, I'm sorry. Marcy actually she tried to call in. I'm sorry, Marcy. I know you probably got pulled away before you could get on the phone. But don't worry, Marcy, you can always win tomorrow when we get back here. We got Therapy Thursday coming up on the show tomorrow, and then the airing of grievances on Friday. A whole lot of news, a whole lot of views. Tomorrow's show, we got to talk about the overtime pay happening in Connecticut. I want to get to the bottom of that and what's going on, because apparently a lot of people are ticked off about that. Plus, I got a story. I just got a text message for that has to do with DCF and the school system. with a child that was trying to get home from school. It's a crazy story, but I'm going to get the details from it, see if we can actually get the family on as a guest. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. Be here bright and early for the opening monologue, okay? 3 o'clock. And if any news breaks, take your time. Take a beat. Reese on the Radio will be here tomorrow to explain it to you. Only in the way that Reese on the Radio can. Don't trust it. Don't trust it. If it's not Reese on the Radio, it's not news. You guys have a good night. Jason Catarina's got your weather. Tom O'Hanlon is getting you home. He's in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Driving Center. Good night, guys.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. 84.
All right, good sir.
All right,
Eastbound
man.
or
Thank
westbound,
you.
we're looking
Mañana.
Yes, sir.
Working up in
Peace.
On the westbound side, still some traffic from Route 2. 2's pretty good.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Lori, always stellar. Great job, guys, in the chat room. No Michael A. Where the hell was he at today? Michael B. was barely here. All right, you guys be good. White Mike, we're going to probably have to get him a feature on the show. I think that's what's going to happen. All right, guys, stay out of trouble. I love you.